How do you lose a woman?
You forget to cherish her.
Welcome back to a retrospective of the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody franchise. Last time we left off midway through the second season, ending with the multi-show crossover, That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana, and we're about to pick up from there. For those who need a refresher, Dylan Sprouse's Zack is the mischievous troublemaker, and Cole Sprouse's Cody is the kid genius goody two-shoes. They inadvertently, sometimes verdantly, cause mass chaos at the prestigious Tipton Hotel on a daily basis. Their mother Carrie, played by Kim Rhodes, and the hotel manager Mr. Mosby, played by Phil Lewis, are the good cop, bad cop. And to maintain order, Carrie tries to nurture and Mosby tries to punish. Both are largely ineffective.
I thought the lesson was all kids belong in military school.
You always think that's the lesson.
And I pray one day you'll learn it.
Ashley Tisdale's Maddie is the bright but poor candy counter girl, and she is tormented every day by Brenda Song's London, the beyond rich, beyond dumb hotel heiress. These six form the omnipresent main cast. We've watched the show slowly evolve from tightly written capers with frequent heartfelt moments to looser, more comedic, antic-filled escapades. A number of iconic phrases and running gags are slowly starting to reveal themselves by this point in the run. Maddie and London have largely stopped being the supporting characters in Zack and Cody's adventures, but rather lead subplots fairly consistently and don't interact with the twins as much as they once did. Carrie's also ever so slowly fading from prominence as the show's begun putting the boys in environments beyond their home of the Tipton. Mosby, meanwhile, is slipping from his characterization of a firm stickler in early season 1 to something of a disruptive troublemaker himself in more recent episodes. There's so many new characters and memorable moments on the way, so let's wrap up the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Season 2, Episode 21, What the Hey? Zack and Cody miss the school bus, which implies that it stops in front of the Tipton Hotel regularly, as if that's a spot where a bunch of children would be hopping on and off. Zack decides to take advantage of their misfortune and skip school for the day, encouraging Cody to go to the mall with him. Cody's extremely reluctant but goes along begrudgingly. In a bit I remember pretty well, Zack calls in their absence and perfectly replicates Carrie's voice.
Hello, this is Carrie Martin. Zack and Cody are homesick today. I tried a new tuna recipe and, well, they have a touch of food poisoning.
As a kid, I had no clue how they did this. I just thought Dylan Sprouse was literally sounding like that. I was like, wow, good for him. Joined by Bob, Cody slowly starts to have fun. He applies for a spot in a music video they're filming in the mall, which he swiftly gets. This radio DJ is the terrifying boogeyman from Wizards of Waverly Place Season 3. I had to stare at his face for a little while to figure that out, but it came to me on my own and I did not need to use IMDb this time. Unfortunately for Cody, as the music video is about to start filming, Carrie walks in.
Run!
This is already the halfway point of the episode. Nothing of note has really happened. Cody ate a hot dog.
What's Mom doing here at the mall? I don't know. She works like 2 hours a day. She has to spend the rest of her life somewhere.
When Carrie enters the store, they hide in the dressing rooms and eventually sneak out again. Cody declares he's having fun and he's going to film the music video right in the middle of the mall. This girl basically gets an episode of the show to serve as her backdoor music video, but she is not a big special guest star like Jesse McCartney or anything. She's just a regular actress. Looks like she's an anime dubber nowadays. I almost have to wonder if this role was written for an actual guest star, because it seems odd to me that they'd spend 2 minutes of the episode showcasing the music of someone who isn't a star that the network was promoting at the time. Just some rando, all due respect. Anyways, predictably, Carrie sees them and steps into this barred off space to ground her children.
And Bob, I'll be calling your mother to let her know how you spent your day.
In that case, I better go pick her up something nice.
Cody owns up to how much fun he had and decides it's time to loosen up and change who he is. A decision he'll forget in the next episode.
Today I had fun. I said, what the hey? And lived.
Okay, yeah, right. Honey, okay.
I love Kim Rhodes' stunned, speechless reactions to all of the random bullshit that happens around her. As a kid, she didn't really stick out to me. She was just the boring mom, but I think it's a great performance to appreciate now. Anyways, they're grounded at the end. The B story, meanwhile, focuses on London. It seems that Mr. Tipton has remarried.
Daddy doesn't like to waste money on weddings. He prefers to save it on more important things. Divorce attorneys.
I would have bought them an extravagant gift, although the warranties on my last 2 gifts lasted longer than the marriages.
London's pretty indifferent until her new stepmother arrives at the hotel, eager to have a role in her daughter's life and bring her to live with her and Mr. Tipton. Unfortunately, she's overbearing and she fucking sucks.
You're coming to live with your father and me so we can be a real family. Excuse me? Your father and I can't have you running around unsupervised. You're barely 16. You know, when I was your age, When was that? 20 minutes ago? I will not be talked to in that tone, young lady. You will show your stepmother some respect.
I will show my stepmother the door.
London, not wanting to leave the Tipton or accept her new trophy mom, gets grounded due to her sass. Maddie, ever a mediator, asks London and Brandy to look for one thing they have in common, which turns out to be shopping. They go to the same store Zack and Cody were at, they hang out with Carrie at this same store, but things fall apart when Brandy scolds London for her outfit being too revealing.
I don't like. It's far too revealing. Oh yeah, your mother's right. That's not how my stepdaughter's going to dress.
Yes, it is. You're not my mother.
Look, I'm going to be around for a long, long time. Your father and I love each other.
That's what stepmother number 1 said. Stepmother number 2 said they were soulmates. And stepmother number 3 was gone before the charm was even finished.
You're just another one of these.
Mosby tells London to be more appreciative of the fact that Brandy's trying to involve herself in London's life, something none of Mr. Tipton's wives have ever tried to do before. Fuck, there's a spider! Fuck! You are too ugly to still be alive! Oh fuck, I missed! I wasn't firm enough! London decides to restart dialogue with Brandy, which she's luckily receptive to.
How about we start by just being friends? I'd like that.
Then we never see Brandy again. And given Mr. Tipton's habit of having very short marriages, that doesn't necessarily bode well for her.
Zack and Cody, they're your average twins.
Here we go.
Trying to fit in,
Thank you very much.
make new friends,
Well, you can't conquer the world on an empty stomach. Well, yeah, that's true.
and stay out of trouble.
Gotcha! Do you mind? I'm eating here.
This hotel's getting a wake-up call.
I am the man. What does that make me? You? You're the brother of the man.
Check in and check out Zack and Cody in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Every night at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Disney Channel.
A Midsummer's Nightmare accurately and authentically captures the experience of a middle school play. It is non-fiction. This one's plot is contrived as hell, and that's part of the joke of the episode. But let's have Agnes give the TLDR of what's happening here.
You like Gwen. Gwen likes Zack. Zack likes Vanessa, and Vanessa likes you. Exactly. Well, who likes me? No one.
So Zack's doing the school play to spend time with his crush, Vanessa. By now, the show has developed a clear pattern. All of Zack's love interests have to be way taller than him, without exception. Unfortunately for Zack, Agnes is in this episode.
Who's your friend?
I don't know how to explain it, but Agnes is the human equivalent of a Smeech, which was these little bugs in Super Mario Galaxy 2, which make out with Yoshi against his will and threaten his perfect union with Birdo. Which I'm not complaining about, because I want Birdo to marry me instead. Meanwhile, Cody's hanging out with his new girlfriend. That's Selena Gomez. Pre-Wizards of Waverly Place Selena Gomez. It's weird, she wasn't really famous yet at this time. She was just a disposable one-off character in a Zack and Cody episode. Unfortunately for Cody, Carrie's here, and she's decided to volunteer as a chaperone at the school play. The episode's theater teacher is the same character from season 1's banned Dyslexia episode, and even though most of the kids watching this episode would have never ever seen that one, they do still acknowledge his familiarity with Bob.
Bob, I'm happy to see you here. I didn't know you had an interest in Shakespeare.
I don't. My mom said it was this or oboe lessons.
With Carrie's presence, Cody realizes the only way for him and Selena Gomez to kiss is if they get the leading roles of Lysander and Hermia. Unfortunately, Zack gets Lysander, and now everyone argues during an acting exercise.
But Lysander and Hermia kiss. I forbid you to kiss Gwen. I won't be kissing Gwen. My character will be kissing her character. Well, my character will be punching your character out.
Good work, guys.
You seem like a lovely girl, and I would hate to see you get hurt. Why would I get hurt? Because if your stage kiss with Zack lasts longer than a second and a half, I'm gonna flatten you like roadkill.
Good. Nice facial work, girls.
This episode's batshit, man. We're only halfway through, and it's going hard, I think. Now, Selena Gomez breaks up with Cody because she's in love with Zack.
Come on, we've had some pretty good times.
You mean yesterday?
Kind of like how she broke up with The Weeknd and went back to Justin Bieber in real life. I think she did that as a reference to this episode. 10 seconds later, Vanessa approaches Cody, and she makes a play on him.
I heard you and Gwen broke up.
Where did you hear that?
Oh, everyone's talking about it.
So on the night of the actual play, Cody and Agnes come up with a plan to prevent Zack from kissing Selena Gomez, going off-book live on stage. Their plan is for Cody to non-consensually kiss Selena Gomez in front of an audience and make her love him instead of Zack. And she's like, now in true Disney Channel play fashion, everything goes wrong. Vanessa wakes up and tells him not to kiss Selena Gomez, but kiss her instead. Zack then kicks in and says Vanessa should kiss him and not Cody. And then everyone starts fighting on stage. And then Agnes has the audacity to catfight with our queen Selena Gomez. And then Bob casually comes on and says some corny shit, and everyone in the audience claps, and they think everything went according to plan. The performance was wonderful. Because Zack and Cody is many things, but subversive is not one of them. The B-plot is not bad either. So London, after returning from the Tipton Tokyo, decides that they need to fully redecorate the feng shui of the lobby to create a more positive flow of energy. When they do this, Esteban receives word that his family struck oil and he's rich. Mosby is gifted a fancy sports car, and Maddie finds $100 on the floor. Even when their most wild dreams are being granted to them, Maddie still doesn't get shit. When London's fortune reverses though, she forces everything to go back to normal, which reverses everyone else's fortunes as well. The oil Esteban's family struck was a Tipton pipeline, and now they have to work the rest of their lives to pay it back. Mosby's car turns out to be a shitty bicycle, and Maddie's $100 turns out to be a counterfeit, and she has to be interrogated by the FBI.
Yes!
The Tipton's going international to impress their new clients.
Nakani Hachi no Suga.
Will they be impressed? Part of Disney Channel's So Hot Summer, Saturday at 8:30, 7:30 Central on Disney Channel.
In Lost in Translation, a Nakamura convention checks into the Tipton, and along with it comes special guest star and Japanese opera singer Komiko Mori. I have no clue if this lady is actually famous in Japan, or if it's like a nobody that Disney Channel's pretending is of significance, because it's always like a 50-50 dice roll, you never know.
Where's Perry?
I'm right here, guys.
It's internet sensation Perry Grip.
Here she becomes besties with Zack and Cody, and they goof around in the lobby together. Zack decides to bring her to school for an international research project since he wouldn't otherwise have anything to submit, and Cody meanwhile has created a popsicle stick Eiffel Tower, without the slightest clue that his traumatic breakup would occur there years later in the Sweet Life on Deck Season 2 finale, Break Up in Paris. Never forget. Being Zack and Cody, they leave her at school, and that's highly unfortunate seeing as she's supposed to sing at the convention tonight, and this leads us to one of the most iconic lines of the entire series.
How do you lose a woman?
You forget to cherish her.
And that's why you're my special little man.
People focus!
If you look at the production codes, this episode was filmed right after Boston Tea Party from earlier in the season. And you can tell because Kim Rhodes is still recovering from losing her voice.
Wow, that came out great! I can almost smell the croissants.
So Carrie and the boys have to perform in her place. And the crowd of Japanese people are not necessarily fans of cultural appropriation. But luckily Kamiko returns just in time to ease the crowd and invites the Martins to sing If You're Happy and You Know It with her. And this completely satisfies the audience and everyone leaves happy. The B story focuses on London inviting Maddie to her 4-story closet. And you might expect me to question the logistics of a 4-story closet in a hotel, but after the 3-story apartment from iCarly, I'm done asking questions. Like, you know what? Mr. Tipton owns this hotel. It's his daughter. It doesn't even suspend my disbelief. I buy it. London's already worn some of her clothes twice and is throwing them all out, but Maddie would like a chance to go through them. And London also mentioned she went to Paris last weekend. And I like to imagine that's the same Paris trip she just had to postpone in That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana a few episodes ago. In the closet, the pedophile mirror is back. He keeps commenting on Maddie's weight here, which is unfortunate. I think is a word that comes to mind. A rack of clothes, Zaboomafoo's down and breaks the handle off the door, completely locking the girls inside. Now they battle starvation and they struggle to stay alive. And at first I was like, hell nah, no, they got phones. Where are their phones? Why aren't they calling anyone? But then London does pull out her phone and she just calls her friend to gossip until the battery dies. And then they fight tooth and nail to eat a singular mint. But then finally, Mr. Mosby arrives looking for London and he allows them to escape, only to get locked in the closet himself. And then the pedophile mirror insults him. Isn't that the most quirked up, silly little goofy thing? Oh man, I love this show.
Yeah, you. Don't go away. You're watching The Sweet Life on Disney Channel.
Season 2, episode 24 is called Volley Dad. I feel dumb, but can someone tell me why it's called this? Like, the A plot is about dad, and the B plot is about volleyball. So that's where volley and dad come from. But is there a pun here I'm missing? Because episodes normally aren't named after two random components in them. Lost in Translation wasn't called Closet Singer. Season 1 had the episodes Kisses and Basketball and Big Hair and Baseball, so they could have called this Dad and Volleyball, but it's just Volley Dad. To get to the story, Carrie comes home after a night out with her new boyfriend, Harvey, only to be Freddy Fazbear jump scared by her own children.
God!
Carrie Marie Martin, do you know what time it is? I believe we agreed that you'd be home by 11.
Boy, your parents are strict.
We learn that their bedtimes have been extended to 10 o'clock now, a vast improvement over their 7:30 bedtimes from the sweet smell of excess in season 2. Zack loves Harvey due to his wealth, and Mosby loves Harvey because he's the key to the boys leaving the hotel. But Cody isn't ready for his mom to move on and takes matters into his own hands to get Harvey out of the picture. Their dad, Kurt, is back in his only appearance in the second season.
It's Mom.
What's wrong with her?
She's getting serious about this guy, and I need you to stop it.
That's the emergency? I took a bus, 2 planes, and a roller coaster to get here.
And once again, there seems to be a really grounded effort to show a realistic depiction of a split family and the stress that might come with it.
Kurt! What are you doing here?
Can a man visit his children?
Sure, if that man calls first.
Kurt proves to be a silly himbo, misses every social cue, and simply attends dinner with Harvey.
Look, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound rude, but my boy-ish friend is coming over for dinner soon.
Great, what are we having?
Apparently 4 chicken breasts on 5 plates.
Kurt turns out to love Harvey even more than Zack after Harvey offers him a record deal.
Are you going to let Mom marry that?
If she doesn't, I will.
In the lobby, Harvey indicates to Mosby that he's planning to propose to Carrie.
I saw a lovely ring in the hotel jewelry store. Are they still open?
Yes! Yes! Oh, for you, for Carrie. You know what? I'll make sure they stay open till midnight. You know what, Harvey? Make sure you use my name and my hotel discount. Oh, in fact, Harvey, take my wallet! Oh, happy day!
Blood really went to buy his wedding ring at a hotel. Word gets back to the twins, and as Mosby and Zack celebrate around the lobby, Cody takes matters into his own hands. He sneaks into the vent system and uses a fishing line to try to pull away the ring from the table. I felt really vindicated when I finally got to this one, because I thought for sure there was an episode where one or both of the twins were in a vent overlooking a date with the mom and some other guy. And after this long of the show of it not happening, I thought for sure it was really early in the run. I assumed I must have been conflating Season 1, Episode 5, Grounded on the 23rd Floor, and Season 1, Episode 9, The Prince and the Plunger. But it finally happened here, and I feel great about that. Suddenly, Kurt approaches Cody and has a genuinely wonderful conversation with him up here.
Harvey is not the right guy for Mom.
Why?
Because he's... Well, you know, he's... You know.
You got a point there.
Okay, so he's perfect. But let him go be perfect with somebody else's mom. We're doing just fine on our own.
So, this isn't so much about him. It's more about you. You kind of like things just the way they are.
Yeah, just Mom, Zack, and me.
Look, buddy, I understand how you feel, all right? Change is hard, but it's a part of life. You know, your mom spends her whole life putting you guys first.
I know.
So, if she really loves this guy and he makes her happy, don't you think maybe it's time to put her first?
I guess.
The show's been so silly goofy lately, and it's really nice to have this genuine moment of emotional sincerity that we really haven't had since season 1. Down below, Mosby can't mind his own damn business and wants Harvey to rush the proposal, putting the ring on his finger to demonstrate how a ring might go on a finger, as if Harvey wouldn't otherwise know. And of course, the ring gets stuck. The ring simply will not come off his fingy.
Want to give you.
You want to give me Mr. Mosby?
At this point, the entire family comes in to interrupt this private dinner, and Carrie, in front of everyone, turns down Harvey's proposal, citing that 1 month of dating was really fast for this, and she is right, in my opinion, and that she just isn't ready to get married. That's enough to end the entire relationship, because we never see Harvey again. Men are only interested in one thing: marriage. Harvey goes to return Mr. Mosby, and everyone else follows him crying, leaving Cody and Carrie alone to have a sweet little moment. Something worth noting: Carrie's hair is brunette here, and I'm a little embarrassed to say this, I did not notice the change whatsoever. One of the very final episodes of the show is a clip show episode, and my 10-year-old nephew was in the room when I was watching that one, and when we watched the clip show footage of the commercial episode from season 1, he was like, "Why is she blonde?" And I was like, "What do you mean? She's always been blonde." And then the clip show segment ended, and I saw she is in fact brunette, and I had to go through the show and track when that change started. It started here, about 40 episodes from the end. Looking at the episodes in production order, the first one to feature Kim Rhodes with brown hair is Loosely Ballroom, which is the next one we're going to talk about. Because these episodes all aired out of order, there's like an 8-episode stretch where Carrie's hair is rapidly switching back and forth from blonde and brunette between episodes. And I just did not notice, and probably wouldn't have noticed whatsoever if my child nephew hadn't pointed it out. But something I did notice: her characterization really starts to change a lot in this back half of the show. She used to be very assertive, in control, a strong, wise mother. By the end of the show, she is always the butt of the joke. She's just constantly painted in a very hapless, helpless light.
I'll walk you out, Harvey.
Okay.
That's so that they can kiss.
And the rash is back. I'm tired.
Like Carrie, the hopelessly haggard housewife. Great costume.
I just went out for a jog. But I go jogging every day. Would you believe 3 times a week? Okay, I went yesterday.
I'll highlight the changes more as they show up, but I really wonder if her changing her hair color was like an intentional choice on behalf of the show, to indicate this is not the same woman we once knew. In the B story, you'll never believe this, London and Maddie are paired together. This is the final episode to take place at their private Catholic school, Our Lady of Perpetual Sorrow, and the last to feature the High School Musical cross-promotion characters. Vanessa Hudgens is actually already gone, we'll never see her again, and her void is filled by the Pop and Lock girl. Let's go!
I love to pop and lock and jam and break.
Is that even legal?
Today we learned that the Perpetual Sorrow classmates all play after-school volleyball, which is a sport for insane people who like to hurt their wrists and make the audience really bored. The coach is Principal Briggs from iCarly, but pre-iCarly. And unlike Sister Dominic, she completely sees through London's bullshit, which is sort of refreshing.
And this said galore. Got right.
Come on, man, let's put Limo Girl through her paces. London, you serve.
Oh, sis.
London meets a cute boy and finds herself head over heels for him. Then, during practice, she is very, very terrible at volleyball and ruins the morale of the whole team. But at an actual game, Mean Girl, TM, on the other side of the net, has some rude and catty things to say about London, prompting her to give 110% effort and turn out to be a secret master of volleyball, winning the game for Perpetual Sorrow. At the next game, Aforementioned nameless cute boy number 68,945 gives London a romantic note, which causes her to stumble and absolutely suck at the game.
You're not supposed to catch it! I forgot. Silly me.
Maddie, realizing that rage is the key to London's success, does the worst thing she's ever done in this show and devises a ploy to kiss the boy, make sure London sees it, and send London into a game-winning rage spiral. And the boy does have a name, by the way. I was just kidding when I called him nameless, but do I remember what it was? No. Do I care? No. I think it might have been Joe. I don't give a shit. Maddie's plan succeeds, but at what cost?
The truth is, I kissed him. I did it to make you angry so he'd win!
You wanted to win so badly you're willing to hurt me?
When you say it like that, it sounds so bad.
Well, how can you say it to make it sound good? I want to win so badly I was willing to hurt you. Well, congratulations!
It worked.
London's upset, and now there's 50 seconds left, and the writers are like, they forgive and forget. And Maddie's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then it's like, oh no, it's all good. And they just link arms and they waddle away. And then Maddie's also like, man, that guy was so hot. I loved kissing him. That was so cool. And there's a laugh track, and then London, she just doesn't care. Their friendship is so laughably toxic, man. But I think it's way more understandable than Alex and Harper. It's just a one-sided cycle of Alex being demanding and providing nothing, while Harper takes all the abuse. But here, Maddie and London are both equally horrible to each other, and they're genuinely more like coworkers than they are friends. They're forced to be together every single day. They have like no choice but to pretend to tolerate each other. If they weren't at this hotel and at this school together, there's absolutely no way they would choose to spend time together. Like, they're awful for each other, they don't really like each other, but they're simply trapped by societal convention. The show claims that Maddie and London are friends. They seem to claim that, but do they mean that? I really don't think so.
London Tipton, she's got money.
I'm rich!
Maddie Fitzpatrick, she's got brains.
Let's talk strategy.
Put these best friends together, and they've got problems.
Okay, let me tell you. Not interested. Do you know what my last vacation was? Never. What's the magic word? Now! Help me!
Check in and check out Maddie and London in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Weeknights at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Disney Channel.
In Loosely Ballroom, Esteban's teaching salsa lessons because he's desperately trying to make money to pay for his little sisters.
It's quinceañera. It's quinceañera. Quinceañera.
Quinceañera. I really thought I was pronouncing it correctly last time. Like that, some people thought it was a bit, it wasn't. I think this one's hard to summarize because so little is happening, but so much is happening at the same time. When Jessica and Janice indicate that they find salsa dancing
so romantic. Really romantic.
Zack and Cody agree to take the class with them, accompanied by the rest of the primary cast of the Tipton. This is the room where Carrie's birthday party was previously held in the Hannah Montana / That's So Raven crossover. This is now a recurring set, despite the fact that the lounge is still here and they seem to fulfill the exact same purpose and function. I guess they just had an unlimited budget for sets this year. Mosby's booked a salsa dance competition here at the Tipton, and the winning team gets $1,000, which will evidently be enough to cover the cost of Esteban's sister's quinceañera. Maddie's absent today, her only absence in the first 2 seasons, and here to fill her void is Lance, the water-obsessed lifeguard from early season 1. This is the exact kind of character the shows would just completely forget about as they go on, so I am shocked that they brought him back. And he settles back into a recurring character role for the rest of the show. Basically, the episode sees everyone kind of squabbling and deciding to switch partners over and over, and it's just endless shuffling. Zack and Cody switch Jessica and Janice because Jessica's leading Cody and Zack says Janice has noodle arms.
It's like dancing with spaghetti. Have I ever told you that I loved you? No. You think I would have? We think you two are so adorable that we would like to get the chance to dance with each of you. So can we switch partners?
How sweet. Really sweet.
This works out because the show depicts these 2 sets of twins as romantically interchangeable. Sometimes Zack's more interested in Jessica, sometimes he's more interested in Janice. The same can be said for all the other combinations. It's basically just a 4-person throuple. I don't know if there's a word for that, a quadruple. But Zack and Cody will see all kinds of other women in between episodes where they're with Jessica and Janice. There's also just a bizarrely large amount of side characters in this episode who do absolutely nothing, leave no real impression, and have like 3 lines each. This lady who's leading Esteban and he's trying to pawn her off on someone else. This lady who's Esteban's partner at first until she quits and decides everyone's a loser and comes back for revenge later as a rival. This guy is Esteban's dance rival. There's this nurse. Then there's this guy who gets a stock applause sound effect.
Is this the ballroom dance class?
Oh, yes, it is. Are you here to enroll?
Yes, my doctor told me I needed some exercise.
And I was like, all right, who's this guest star no one's heard of? And I looked into it, and his name is Rip Taylor. He was a comedian from the 60s, known for his stand-up he performed at strip clubs. His Wikipedia page is like completely unfinished. No one cited anything. As far as I can tell, he isn't even known for salsa dancing or anything, so I have no clue why he's here. It is so random. He doesn't even do shit in this episode, but apparently he voiced the genie, Gene the Genie, in the 80s DuckTales movie, and he passed away recently, so, you know, rest in peace, Rip Taylor. So Esteban's just hopelessly trying to teach his class.
You must hold your partner so closely that this magazine cannot fall.
Excellent. You got a thinner magazine? Man, the tango was great! Really great!
Carrie and Mosby are the only good dancers, everyone sucks, and Esteban delivers a classic line that will soon become his recurring catchphrase.
This is a disaster!
Esteban decides that Carrie will be his partner for the big show.
I think I should take the best dancer in the class.
Ah! Esteban.
I am talking about Carrie.
Carrie?
But the day comes and she's randomly sick, out of nowhere. Zack and Cody decide to do the dance together, and now London and Lance dance together, and London's here to support Esteban and help him win the $1,000 prize money. But has she not thought about the fact? Has no one mentioned that she's the richest person like in the world and she gets $1,000 like per minute for allowance? Alas, London does not do anything to help pay for this quinceañera besides paying like $5 for a ticket to the class. Team Tipton can only win the salsa competition if Esteban manages to win his dance-off, but Carrie's out for the count. The nurse who accompanied Rip Taylor throughout the episode offers to dance, having observed the lessons throughout it, having never danced before in her life.
Wait! She can't dance dressed like that!
I don't have anything else. No problem.
Okay, don't. Let's pick up. Turn around.
She and Esteban give a show-stopping performance, and they're able to win. Carrie expresses her subconscious desire to sleep with George Clooney again.
Oh, Mr. Clooney, you dance divinely.
And the episode closes with a big dance number by everyone in the cast. All in all, I'd say this was a lot of practice and choreography for these people to learn for such a bizarre, undercooked, dare I say, almost incomplete episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Next, this hotel has a strict policy of mess-ups and mayhem. Check me in. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, here on Disney Channel.
In Scary Movie, Zack is tired of Carrie constantly thwarting his raised plays towards Jessica and Janice.
You sure you won't in pain?
I'm fine.
Too bad. I was going to kiss it and make it better.
Oh! Searing pain!
Oh, my poor baby! Are you okay? I'll kiss it. Make the boo-boo better.
I'm fine.
Is it just me or they're like overexposed in this scene? I feel like their faces are all washed out. He wants to go to a movie with the girls, but he does not want his mother to be there. So he and Cody formally break up with her.
I can change.
Please. It's not you. It's us. Don't make this harder than it has to be. We can still be friends.
Carrie drops the kids off at the theater, but Zack decides to get them into the horror movie Zombie Mom. This winds up making Zack so scared that he can't sleep for the next several nights. The lobby's barricaded with furniture, and Mr. Mosby wants to get to the bottom of it. At this point, immediately I was like, oh, Zack's sleepwalking, right? He did this? And I can't tell if it's just that predictable of an episode or if I just subconsciously remember it happening. It might be both.
Come in, Mr. Clooney.
It's not Mr. Clooney, it's Mr. Mosby.
Then go away!
I'm sorry to disturb you, but I need to see your twin hooligans.
Hooligans, it's for you!
Mr. Mosby goes to investigate and gasp. Neither Zack or Cody barricaded the lobby because they were both sleeping. But yeah, as established, it was actually just Zack sleepwalking. It happens the next night and he's barricading the lobby from the zombies. I think this was a foreshadowing of the hit Disney Channel original films, Zombies, plural. Mosby catches him in the act and everyone comes down to stop him.
Zack? Zack? Wait!
Zack is forced to confess that he's scared because he watched the scary movie, and Carrie's disappointed in him, and I think that they learn a valuable lesson about responsibility and they'll never do anything bad ever again, in my opinion. This episode introduces Skippy, a receptionist in the lobby. He's kind of just mid. He isn't named yet at this point, but he's gonna become a recurring character soon for whatever reason.
Welcome to the Tipton.
London, meanwhile, develops a crush on a delivery driver, but when she hears him talking about how much he hates rich people, she decides to be poor to impress him. And they literally did this exact same thing with Maddie in episode 3, where she pretended to be rich. This is just like a far lesser version of that because it lacks the emotional heart. It's just a paint-by-numbers B-plot where London kind of hides her identity. Everyone's mean to Maddie.
Dang, Maddie. You're poor and mean.
I don't have that much to say about it.
When you check into the Tipton, expect soft pillows, great service, and these guys? The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Next on Disney Channel.
Episode 27. Wilderness. Sees the boys and their friends embarking on a wilderness scouts expedition. The second I saw them in these uniforms, I was like, oh, Mr. Mosby's the scout leader. And then he was. I remembered that. Something that is hilariously out of character for him, but I'm just gonna allow it. He's a former wilderness scout and he is here to train the next generation, goddammit. I'm not sure why their orientation meeting is in the Martins' apartment. The lounge or the blue room would have made infinitely more sense, but also no, they wouldn't have, because this is a luxury hotel and I'm not sure why a wilderness scout meeting is happening here at all. So now they head out to the wilderness. Fun fact from the Wikia, the wilderness set looks very disappointing. Everything goes awry. Warren sits on their fishing pole and their food gets stolen by bears and/or raccoons.
We've been ransacked by a bear-coon!
Bob gets poison oak.
It is critical that you don't touch anyone.
This episode made me terrified of poison oak as a kid. Also, just camping in general.
That blueberry had eyes and 8 legs.
Luckily, Zack steps up as a provider and gets promoted to Panda, a higher rank than Cody's Koala. Cody, who's been studying and working his ass off to be a wilderness scout, becomes jealous of Zack usurping him so effortlessly. When he accidentally discovers an old man named Merle's cabin in the woods, he decides to lie and brings food back. He's promoted, but eventually he's called out on his lies and confesses his jealousy to Cody. They have a sweet bonding moment as siblings, and then they decide to go off and look at women in Merle's brother's cabin.
I hear Merle's brother has a cabin with babes.
In the B story, Carrie's relaxation time is constantly interrupted by Maddie and London, who burst into the room to vent about their off-screen drama, as they're both fighting over the same boy named Cliff Park. Carrie says whatever it takes to make them go away, which just grows their conflict, and puts her in the crosshairs of their ferocious paint fight. But then they bond over how betrayed they feel by Carrie playing both sides. Flick paint at her, and they storm off together. Now they're besties again. Immensely silly. I would go as far as to say it is so humorous. When you're in a being silly competition and your opponent is this subplot, yikes. That's how you would react in that situation, because it'd just be so scary.
On an all-new episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, a hawk terrorizes the Tipton, but the boys take it under their wing.
I will get both of you, and your little hawk, too.
Friday at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Disney Channel.
Episode 28, Birdman of Boston. I remember this one pretty well. A wild hawk's flying around the Tipton Hotel. When the twins are pet sitting Ivana for London, they see it perched on her balcony, and Cody becomes emotionally attached to it. However, when it terrorizes a wedding proposal, Mosby dedicates himself to hunting it down and having it forcibly removed from the Tipton Hotel. This is the second episode of the show London's absent from, and it was filmed back to back with Have a Nice Trip, so Brenda Song must have had some sort of scheduling conflict for those 2 episodes filming cycles. Mosby has an Arwen attempt to capture this bird with his net launcher. Who could have ever guessed that his invention would not work? That's crazy, bro. It scares the bird away, and Cody sees the abandoned egg, which he dedicates himself to taking care of as its surrogate mother until it hatches. There's a few things going on here. Maddie's leading a fierce protest against Mosby. The social activist aspect of her personality has been fading away since the series started, and this is one of the final major instances of it. Zack decides to film everything and post the videos to get money online. The exact specifics of that money-making process back in 2006 are left very vague. Cody being the bird's de facto mother is something that Jessica and Janice find sweet. Really sweet.
Sweet. Really sweet. Mwah.
Cody ultimately guides the egg through the hatching process. 6 weeks later, the hawk has fully grown. I'm like 90% sure this is the same hawk from before. And Cody convinces Mosby to make arrangements to send it to the local zoo. However, Carrie tells Cody that the bird wouldn't be happy all crabbed up, and if he loves something, he needs to let it go. Then a CGI bird flies across a JPEG, and everyone's happy.
I have to admit, he is rather magnificent.
And that's why they should be allowed to fly free.
Let's check back in to the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Disney Channel.
Episode 29, Nurse Zack. Carrie's come down with a cold, which Cody soon picks up as well. This forces Zack to stay home from the skate park to take care of them, buying their groceries and making their food. Well, he's Zack.
I wanted to apply.
Glue them together.
Ow! Ow!
He eventually becomes so tired of helping that he complains no one should have to cook and clean for anyone, which is just so much work. And Carrie points out that's what she does for him every single day. Zack's gained a new perspective on life, which he'll surely carry with him in all future episodes. Now he gets to leave and skate. I find it really funny how we always hear that Zack loves to skateboard, but not once in this entire series do we see Zack skateboarding. He comes back from the skate park at the beginning of episodes. He talks about how he's going to leave and go skate. We've never once seen this man on a skateboard. Editing update, I just remembered that episode 2 exists, but you know what? Here, he's a woman, so I'm going to use some sort of sociological argument to say that this wasn't truly him. I don't know what that argument is yet, but I'll figure it out. The B story is pretty silly goofy, if you don't mind my saying so. Mr. Mosby proclaims the next employee of the month will receive an all-expenses-paid vacation to any Tipton location of their choice. And everyone in the hotel begins sucking up to Mosby as hard as they can to fight for the award.
I'm converting this maid's cart into a mobile candy counter.
Where'd you get the maid's card?
Online.
Mr. Mosby, I have increased my luggage carrying ability to 8 bags. Oh, no. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, I got it. No, hold on. Adios. I fixed it.
What did you fix?
Everything!
Things soon evolve into complete pandemonium as the staff begins sabotaging each other to get Employee of the Month, all while adamantly ignoring London's attempts to get people's attention.
All right.
In the end, Mosby grants Employee of the Month to Carrie, who merely requests a box of tissues as her reward, rather than the vacation, which Mosby swiftly agrees to. Everyone's pissed off and sad, but then London returns from Paris, and she explains that she just needed someone to keep her company on her shopping spree, and that's why she was trying to get everyone's attention the whole episode. Everyone crowds her in the elevator, which winds up crashing and collapsing down multiple stories.
I'm not sure what the maximum load on this thing is.
Then the episode just ends in silence without a guitar riff or like a boing on the It's a Laugh logo. It's kind of haunting. It's kind of scary to just see that in silence. I don't like it. Ew.
Fun at the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where it's made just for you. With the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, every night at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Disney Channel.
In Club Twin, Zack and Cody don't have enough money to get into any teen clubs. They come to the conclusion that the only way they could afford to get into a club is if they run it themselves, which they decide to do. Here we're introduced to Mr. Mosby's office, which they've built in here behind the private door. You can also see his popsicle stick replica of the Tipton from way back in season 1's Hotel Inspector. The kids take advantage of the lounge vacancy on Monday nights to convince Mosby to let them run a teen club and cut the hotel in on the profits. Mosby says yes. Cody's in charge of the party's planning and throws together the lamest shindig humanly possible. Agnes and Max come in to tell them how lame it is. This is the first time we've seen Max since Election earlier this season, at the very beginning. And this is sadly her final appearance in the whole show. By the time Disney Channel started promoting Allison Stoner, mostly through Phineas and Ferb, where she played Isabella, they looked like this. So I guess this is like golden age Allison Stoner, for lack of a better term. I think they was only able to squeak out this final appearance because the script called for dancing, and that was Allison's strong suit. After the first party's a flop, Zack takes over and spends a ton of money putting together the second showing, which turns out to be a resounding success. After raking in a boatload of money, to the point that Mosby considers replacing Carrie with them, Zack decides to unwisely invest more and more money into the club, redecorating it with an extravagant theme each and every night. Cody's increasing concerns are ignored, and Disco Night turns out to be a disaster when the go-go dancers in the band Zack hired are literally from the 60s, ruining the night by being old, I suppose. Too elderly.
Hey, wait guys! Stay for the finale! They smashed our instruments, it's so cool!
Rock and roll!
Once everyone leaves, the twins end up with net negative money because Mosby charges them for all of the damages, putting them exactly back where they started, except worse because they have negative money now. In the B story, London is uncharacteristically generous, constantly providing Maddie with a number of beauty products and fragrances one after another. Maddie accepts them happily, but by the end, is experiencing terrible side effects. London divulges that she was simply testing these substances for her new product line, but now she knows they are not safe to use on human beings. Poor Maddie doesn't deserve anything that happens to her.
All new Saturday, the guys catch game show fever.
We're willing to risk it all. Yeah.
Hey, like your pants, why don't you come on down?
Fall for a new episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Saturday at 8/7 Central on Disney Channel.
In Risk It All, Zack and Cody head to a game show to compete for an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii. They're chosen from the studio audience, and there really isn't much to explain or describe here. It's just a series of random challenges and obstacle courses for the whole episode. Cody spends the adventure characteristically cautious, advising Zack to not risk it all, as the show's namesake encourages its guests to do. But Cody eventually becomes cocky and ignores his own warning, as well as Zack's, to risk everything they've earned on an obstacle course that they do not wind up able to win. But they don't go home empty-handed because they win an incredible consolation prize.
Tell them what they get, Tom.
It's a 2-night hotel package at the luxurious Boston Tipton!
No! I remember this episode really well, or at least as well as you can remember something you haven't watched in like 13 years. But I definitely remember that punchline of them just winding up the Tipton. That was silly. I love the idea of a public game show that's entirely centered around small children getting hurt. In the B story, Maddie and Esteban are upset that Mosby refuses to give them a raise, so they draft an email venting their feelings as aggressively as possible as a means of self-therapy. However, London She is the Quirkster, and she sends it to Mr. Mosby. Now they've got to rush to his office to delete it before he gets there, as complication after complication mount.
Filthy vermin!
Maddie's energy in this episode is almost identical to that of Candace in a Phineas and Ferb episode where she has to delete photos from Jeremy's phone before he sees them. And on that note, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Ashley Tisdale's performance voice has gradually shifted, and now it just sounds like Candace 90% of the time. And this is still pre-Phineas and Ferb.
Mr. Mosby, there's an emergency!
There are so many lines she says where all I hear is Candace Flynn.
What is it?
Fire!
Yes! Okay.
In the end, after they think they got away, Mosby reveals that he did see the email, but they apologize to him and all is well. Mosby continues to just inexplicably not fire these people. Good for him. The end.
It's Afro Jerry Curl, then fade.
I'm rich.
It's a sweet, sweet life. And now we're back on Disney Channel.
I'm genuinely shocked by Season 2, Episode 32, Nugget of History. It's an episode that tackles the topic of erasure of Black culture and Black accomplishments in most contemporary tellings of history. It all starts when Mr. Mosby's grandma comes to visit, and she is played by Phil Lewis himself.
Grandma is here! Marion! Now you leave them alone. All children are sweet and wonderful.
At school, Zack and Cody are assigned to do a report on a fascinating first from the 1940s. Cody chooses to do his on daylight savings time. And this is how I learned that daylight savings time was implemented in the 1940s. I assumed they invented that the first year ever. Zack isn't sure what to do his report on, but Grandma Rose comes over because apparently
Rose and I are going to the mall.
I like the idea that Carrie is just friends with Mr. Mosby's grandma. We don't learn what their relationship is. They're just buds. They've just, they know each other. When Zack brings up his report, Rose suggests he write about the black sailor Hugh Mulzac.
In 1920, Hugh Mulzac earned his captain's stripes in the Merchant Marines. But all they offered him was command of a ship with an all-black crew.
Cool. Not cool. She's talking about segregation.
Hugh Mulzac was a real person, the first black captain to command an integrated crew. And the episode's description of events is 100% historically accurate. So Zack writes the most passionate essay he's ever written, not even on a cafeteria napkin this time, and gets only a D.
Zack.
D?
They're devoid of accuracy, starting with that first sentence.
The first time an integrated crew served under a black captain was in 1942 when Roosevelt was president.
Except that the Navy wasn't desegregated until 1948 when Truman was president. It's in your textbook. That thing you use as a pillow?
Hugh isn't featured in the textbook, and therefore he doesn't exist, does he? Zack argues with his teacher and winds up getting detention because of it. Also, this teacher, I stared at him for a few minutes. I knew it was someone culturally significant right off the bat. This is Ambrose from Mighty Med. Apparently, he quit being a teacher because being the omnipotent writer of all comic books was a better paying position for him. Slay. So throughout this episode, I had not remembered a thing, nothing, until one trigger line awakened all of the memories in the back of my head.
Why am I wearing a wooden skirt?
Zack has brought Grandma Rose to his detention. She apparently had a romantic history with Jackie Robinson.
Jackie.
Rose goes to bat for the existence of Hugh. Ambrose from Mighty Med continues to discredit her.
Well, I'd like to take your word for it, but to be honest, you seem a bit batty.
Until she finally pulls a newspaper clipping out of her purse, which details the launch of the ship. Ambrose from Mighty Med admits he was wrong and corrects Zack's grade. Gotta give him credit. I already mentioned this at the top, but why was this episode just randomly so respectful? It's actually crazy the amount of conscious effort they put forth to present this so tastefully when every other depiction of race in Zack and Cody has been so egregiously distasteful. Okay, so I looked into it a little bit, and I realized that I'm actually not a black person, so I know that my perspective just inherently matters less, whether or not I think it was well handled. I'll let the people actually affected speak that. But I'm just, from my research, from my understanding of the topic, I think that it did a good job. That's where I'm coming from. You're welcome to disagree. I don't want to sound like some sort of moral authority. I don't have morals. When I was like 4, I stole an Edward Thomas train from my church because I was like, Mother, I would like an Edward, and my mom was like, put Gordon's coal thing on Thomas, just pretend, and I was like, it's not the same, Mother. So then I stole it from. But anyway, back to black people.
Oh, pish posh.
The B story is Maddie Torture Porn episode 2829. Mr. Tipton insists that London needs to get a job. Apparently her clothing store from Going for the Gold no longer exists, and she's hired at Maddie's job at the fast food restaurant, The Clock Bucket. Maddie's apparently been working 2 jobs this whole time because this poor girl cannot get ahead in this fierce economy. London, meanwhile, claims she doesn't know what air quotes are, despite the fact that she definitely does know what air quotes are. Maddie has to train London on how to work the restaurant, and it's just Patrick works at the Krusty Krab, but with London.
Will there be anything else? Suggest whatever's getting cold. Oh.
London's too incompetent to even go down a line one by one and put things on a sandwich. London's relegated to wearing the Hillary Hinn costume. Here comes a man with the most ridiculous overacting I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'd like a half chicken. The left half, but take off the skin, coleslaw, but pick out the carrot bits, and a root beer. Stir out the bubbles. Go!
When the camera stopped rolling here, do you think the directors and Ashley Tisdale were like, oh, great showing, fine sir? Or do you think they were just like, okay, what the fuck? Say what you will about this man's performance, it got me to look at his IMDb page, and this is young Scott from Lab Rats. He finally learned how to give a more subdued performance by 2015. Anyways, London comes back in a fully redecorated costume, which Maddie says she cannot do. She should not have vandalized the costume, and she gets so distracted by yelling at London that she fails to complete the order before the clock timer runs down.
Yes!
The manager comes in to chastise Maddie for yelling at her fellow coworker and relegates her to wearing the costume. This leaves London fully in charge of the restaurant before a massive post-football game dinner rush.
Hey, please! Sorry, my wings are tied.
Maddie reluctantly comes to help her friend and do crowd control. The Hinn costume then burns on fire in the kitchen, which leads to what would be one of the most legendary fast food fails of all time if it were real and someone were filming it.
That's it, you're fired!
No! I'm begging you! Please, I need this job!
London confesses that she's responsible for the mess and Maddie is innocent. Then, with a crowd of customers still here watching, she's fired as well.
You're fired too!
No! My daddy won't cut me off! Please, I'm begging you! I'm on my knees!
Once again, imagine if this shit was real. Imagine how viral this video would go. Anyways, they quit. In the end, London decides to simply buy the Clock Bucket in order to get their jobs back. On the note of Ashley Tisdale and Brenda Song working at a fast food restaurant, there was a singular Phineas and Ferb episode where Brenda Song guest starred and was competing with Candace for a job at the Slushy Burger. And I just have to ask, why wasn't she a recurring character? Think about how fun that would have been if Candace had a rival who would just show up every once in a while to thwart her. I think there was such missed potential that they retired this character after one outing. That's all I had to say.
How huge is this Phineas and Ferb?
A portal to Mars? Cool! Fire it up!
How about this? Brenda Song guest stars.
Good luck. Ooh. Too slow!
How about
Phineas!
Candace becomes interplanetary royalty?
Now I'm the queen of Mars! Woohoo! Follow that music, Ferb!
How about Phineas and Ferb take a Martian rescue mission?
Hello, Baljeet?
How is it we have bars here?
And it all starts with the Science Fair project.
But that's another story.
Phineas and Ferb. New episode Friday at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
Well, I see you've built yourself a prototype. But the question still remains, does it work.
In miniature golf, the twins are going on a double date to mini golf, and Zack's hoping to woo his new date, Ella. Cody, meanwhile, goes with Barbara. I've just got to say it, Barbara's actress, Sophia Oda, really had it good. She was a literal extra in one season 1 episode. Then she defies all traditional wisdom, comes back a whole season later as, again, an extra in a season 2 episode. A throwaway role which could have gone to anyone. And now out of nowhere, she's Cody's date in this episode, and she'll pretty consistently be Cody's love interest for the whole duration of this series. Like, you gotta wonder, did her parents know the executives or something? And that's not to discredit her acting at all, like she's fine. She holds her own with everyone she's on screen with. It's just so random. I can't really think of any other instances in sitcoms like this where a literal extra with scattered appearances spanning multiple seasons just suddenly snowballs into a prominent recurring character. Back to the date, Ella winds up being a mini golf prodigy, winning a hole-in-one every time and making Zack feel like a doofus, because he wanted to impress and woo her with his dominance. This vigilant, fan-run, child-written Wikia is here to save the day. They found an error that the dumb writers didn't even notice. Barbara says that Zack managed to bite a golf ball in half while playing. Such an act would be physically impossible, regardless of how angry one is. Thank you so much for your vigilance, Zack and Cody wiki contributors. And here comes Mr. Mosby, who reveals he used to be a junior putt-putt champion, and in probably his most out-of-character turn yet, offers to train Zack in the art of mini-golf in his own lobby.
Eyes down, elbows locked, wrist cocked, lips pursed, teeth clenched.
How's this?
Perfect.
So now Zack hits the golf course and he's a pro. He is the top and the golf course is his bottom. Unfortunately, he's also a jerk, prompting Ella to walk out on him. But don't you worry, luckily, it's a Disney Channel sitcom, which means boys can be as mean to girls as they possibly want, and they will always be forgiven by the end of the 22 minutes.
Ella, I'm sorry I called you a loser. You know what? I don't care if you can beat me at miniature golf. I just care if I can't see you again. Will you forgive me?
Of course I forgive you, Zack.
Thank you.
In the B story, London joins a book club because everyone who's anyone is doing it.
I'm not.
Exactly.
All the rich girls gather, but it turns out that none of them actually read the book and they just joined to, you know, validate their richness. And then all of them decide to fight because they're rich and they hate each other.
Just because my family's yacht is smaller than yours, you think you're better than me?
Well, yeah. How dare you?
What on earth is going on with London's book club?
They're having a rousing debate about classic English literature.
Mosby just stands by and lets this happen. Like, if Zack and Cody aren't causing the chaos, dude just goes, I don't care. It's just them specifically he decides to bully. Except for when he doesn't, such as this episode where he taught Zack golf. This episode's significant because I'm like 90% sure I watched this the day it came out. But the thing is, I have no tangible memory or like proof. It's just an intense gut feeling. I remember London's book club fight really well, but for some reason wires got crossed in my head over the years, and I thought for sure this episode was called Boston Tea Party because they're having their tea club in Boston.
On an all-new episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Zack's sugar habit is out of control.
I found licorice in your underwear drawer.
But giving up sweets is harder than he thinks. Next Friday at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Disney Channel.
Season 2, Episode 34, Health and Fitness, is the second entry in what I call a trilogy of episodes with positive messages and morals. The first being Nugget of History's telling of Black erasure. Today's episode makes an earnest attempt to tackle eating disorders across the A and B plot. It's not quite as successful. When Zack is obsessed with junk food, Carrie decides to cut it out of his diet entirely.
What are you, my mother?
Zack saying, "What are you, my mother?" to his own mother made me laugh out loud in a library because I'm at a point where the more Zack and Cody jokes you hear, the more you hear that laugh track, the more you start to actually laugh. It's just cracking your brain. Chef Paolo from Hex Kitchen is back and he's received bad news from a cholesterol test.
How bad can your blood be?
They found the bacon bits.
Cody decides to work with him to help him reduce his diet.
According to this chart, a man of your age should take in about 2,200 calories a day.
Ate more than that before breakfast.
Helping Paolo in the kitchen, Cody tastes the food for him, but he's ultimately unable to stop him from eating everything in sight and smuggling food into his clothes. He randomly does a Yakko Warner impression right here.
But what will you do about the pot roast?
Girls.
Cody has a brilliant idea to let Chef Paolo spend the night with them and show him that he's able to go a night without binge eating.
Chef Paolo, here's your midnight snack. One chocolate chip.
Carrie normally sleeps on this couch, so I literally have no idea where she's at tonight. Zack sneaks out in the middle of the night to eat his hidden candy bar that he's chiseled into Carrie's cookbook, somewhere he knows for sure she would never look. This is one of the funniest things I've seen and heard in my entire life. I'm not even kidding. I laughed really hard. It's just silly. They sneak down to the kitchen to eat ice cream where they're eventually caught by Cody and Carrie. Carrie apologizes for making Zack quit cold turkey and decides that they'll readjust his diet to be mostly healthy with nice snacks in moderation. Cody, meanwhile, yells at Chef Paolo.
And that I want you to be around for a long time. But if you want to eat yourself sick, go ahead. Just don't ask me to watch.
The next day, Cody's yelling has given Paolo the motivation he needs to cook all kinds of healthy meals, naming them after his star pupil, Cody. Zack is shocked to discover that he finds this healthy dish absolutely delicious. And there the episode ends. So I think everything about this was great except for Cody going off on Paolo, because normally that has the opposite effect than motivating them. That tends to make people really depressed and kill their motivation when it comes to weight loss or diet changes. Not quite as solid in execution as the Grandma Rose episode, but let's see how the B plot fares. The B story follows the same path. London and Maddie are walking the runway at London's junior fashion show, but a bratty girl backstage calls London overweight and Maddie overly thin. This sends the two of them into a spiral of insecurity.
I think I'm gonna go for a little 10-mile jog. I think I'm going to get a double cheeseburger with fries. And a shake.
In the lobby, Maddie binge eats to overcome her perceived skinniness, while London tries to work off as much weight as she possibly can. Mosby comes by to offer his advice.
Look, girls, this is ridiculous. Now, if you want one man's opinion, I think you are both two very beautiful young women.
You really think so?
Absolutely. And you don't need to change the way that you look.
Thanks, Mosby.
You're the best.
Good night.
Good night.
He's gone.
On the day of the fashion show, they continue to stress their way through a downward mental health spiral.
I'm so hungry, I'm dizzy.
What is wrong with you girls? Just a couple of days ago, you were all excited and full of energy.
We still are.
I'm almost 50-50 on how I feel about them making jokes about eating disorders. I feel like if you're gonna make a joke about something edgy, it at least has to be really fucking funny. The next episode got that memo. So here we see that the mean girl had body issues too, and that's why she was lashing out to make them feel insecure. They don't really drive that point home. Instead, Maddie and London only receive their validation from these two boys at the end.
I didn't even want to go to a fashion show.
Yeah, now we're on a date with a couple of models. Girls are both so gorgeous.
You sure you don't think I'm too skinny?
Positive. You're perfect.
And you don't think I'm too not skinny?
Heck no.
This is what prompts them to be okay with who they are. Two random one-off love interests from this 130-second scene who say that they look great the way they are. Obviously, body issues tend to be lifelong things. This is a very neat and tidy wrap-up, but it's also a completely episodic sitcom. I don't think they wanted these to be part of Maddie and London for the rest of the show. I don't think it was necessary. In terms of tackling the issue, I think they had all the right lessons here. When the characters do the obligatory, wow, I learned this today. They're saying all the right things, but I think in practice, they came to these conclusions in a pretty messy way. I think this one's fine overall. I don't think there's anything egregiously disrespectful or off the mark. You're welcome to disagree. It's definitely the weakest of the three positive moral episodes.
Hey, whoa, hold that door. The Sweet Life will be right back on Disney Channel.
And here we have Back in the Game, an episode about living with disability. Season 2 is just covering heavy topic after heavy topic.
Oh, Zack! Cody, no basketball in the lobby!
A wheelchair basketball team checks into the Tipton, led by special guest star Daryl Mitchell, a wheelchair-bound actor who became paralyzed from the waist down after a motorcycle accident in 2001. He also played Scientist 1 in Wizards of Waverly Place's Season 3 finale, where he had the funniest line of the entire show.
Landwood is out of control. We're not even supposed to be studying wizards. We're supposed to be studying lizards.
Here right off the bat, the episode's very preachy about its message, but it's also having a lot of fun with it in a way the previous two didn't quite have.
Yeah, how come they can play basketball in the lobby and we can't?
You know, it's just that, I didn't want to. I mean, they're...
In wheelchairs?
Are they? I hadn't noticed.
For future reference, just because a person is in a wheelchair doesn't mean you have to give them special treatment.
Oh, of course. Now, why don't you just sign here for the rooms?
Whoa, partner! Man, this is steep. Man, I can't believe you won't give a brother in a wheelchair a break.
Perhaps a special adjustment can be made.
What did I just tell you about giving people in wheelchairs special treatment?
Okay, I'm so sorry.
I think the jokes they're making are so good that I have no qualms whatsoever. Okay, if Daryl Mitchell thought it was okay, then I get to, or do wait. Well, whatever. It's good. It's good. It's silly.
Just keep on walking. That was a poor choice of words.
Right here, 4 minutes into the episode, there's a smash cut from the lobby to the Martin suite with no scene transition. Normally, when you're cutting from Tipton location to Tipton location, you'd show the elevator marker kind of like transitioning into it, leading into it. Nothing. It just feels wrong. It's like kind of scary. Zack and Cody invite their classmate Jamie over to visit, tricking him into thinking that Jessica Simpson checked in. Jamie was their classmate on their basketball team, but they've barely ever seen him since an accident that left him wheelchair-bound. Daryl comes by and Carrie asks him if he'd be willing to convince his team to do a wheelchair basketball game against Zack and Cody's team for charity, which he agrees to. We also get perhaps the best dialogue exchange of all time.
Oh no, I'm not interested in you for that. I mean, not that I couldn't be. I mean, you're a very attractive man. What I'm trying to say, I dated a guy in a wheelchair once. Maybe you know him.
Carrie, listen, I was just playing around. I have a girlfriend.
Oh, is she in a wheelchair too?
No, she can walk. Maybe you know her.
My God. Jamie rolls in, and look, it's Nathan Kress, Freddy from iCarly, but pre-iCarly.
You must be Jamie.
All right, no offense, but you're not nearly as pretty in person.
They reveal that they simply brought him over to meet Daryl to inspire him to play basketball again. He does not take this very well, you can't blame him. And he was tricked, and he rolls away. You can't blame Zack and Cody for trying either. They're just kids, doing their best, trying their hardest. As the team warms up for the basketball game, we can see that Max and Tapeworm are no longer on it. But continuity is loosely maintained to Season 1's Kisses in Basketball episode. Arwen is still the coach of the team, and we allude to Cody always being benched.
Yeah, you should be good at this. You're used to sitting during our games.
Freddy from iCarly comes by to check it out once again, only to make like an Autobot and roll out. During the actual game, the Twins team is losing. Arwen chews all of Cody's fingernails out of anxiety, as you do. Freddy from iCarly, feeling that he could do a better job than his teammates and with a bit of encouragement from Daryl, decides to emerge from the audience and join. I'm not sure how loud that would be in a real basketball game that has some real Cars 3 energy to it, but you know what? Good for Jamie Slay King. He has the time of his life and he saves the day. Carrie kisses Arwen again because this lady has problems. The B story has a lot less going on. Maddie's trying to shoot a student film and reluctantly accepts London, Lance, and Mosby as her actors along with Esteban as her cameraman.
Oh, thanks for lending me your clothes, Maddie.
And why are you wearing Maddie's clothes?
None of them can act. None of them are remotely talented. It all goes cattywampus. Mr. Mosby wears a peg leg. And in the end, Maddie decides to change her assignment to be a documentary about the challenges of filmmaking, for which she receives high marks. This is a B story where there's very little plot points, but it's because the characters just write themselves, basically. Their organically flowing, dumb remarks fill the entire runtime here as Maddie struggled to keep this ship together.
We've sold Zack and Cody!
Marvelous! I'll get some bubble wrap and we'll ship them off immediately!
Coming next month to Disney Channel.
We sold a sitcom about twin boys living in a hotel. You're all invited to Hollywood to be consultants on the show!
Hooray!
The Sweet Life goes Hollywood.
We're gonna be my two favorite things, rich and famous.
And while Zack and Cody get ready for their close-up,
Oh, we're gonna be such a smash!
everyone tries to get in on the act.
We can sneak in if we're in costume.
You two must be our stunt doubles.
It's a 1-hour event that will leave you speechless.
One eye and
Line, please.
we call him Lucky. Hey, that's my line. Now you remember?
The Sweet Life Goes Hollywood 1-hour event. Coming next month to Disney Channel.
Next up is a two-parter that I remember very vividly from childhood, and more importantly that I know for a fact I watched as they premiered on the Disney Channel. I remember the marketing, I remember the lead up. It's time for The Sweet Life Goes Hollywood. In the midst of a freak blizzard, the Tipton staff find themselves longing for a nice vacation.
Have fun on your vacation, Madeline.
Fun? It's 20 degrees colder in Minnesota than it is here. Penguins go there and say, wow, it's cold, let's leave.
Well, this sucks.
Zack and Cody overhear a conversation which they fear is being had by hitmen.
Come on, one more hit and we're out of this dirty business.
There's some typical and very abridged ZNC hijinks as they try to open the man's bag and find a body. Lots of things get knocked over.
Well, next time you go on vacation, you might think about leaving them at home.
Oh, no, we're not on vacation. We live here. At least we used to.
The hitmen, as it turns out, are Hollywood writers.
We're hitmen? No, we're TV writers. We haven't had a hit in years.
And they're so inspired by the antics of this hotel that they go and make one singular 20-minute phone call and get a show about it fully greenlit. They tell the main cast that they get to come to Hollywood and serve as consultants on this show they're making about their lives. I'm a simple-minded little dumbass, so I was watching the credits scroll and I saw that this guy was named Sean Crowder. And so I was scrolling, I was like, do you think he's related to Steven Crowder? And he's not, as far as I can tell. But what I did find is that Sean Crowder here has been a stuntman in literally everything that has ever existed in any capacity. From the silly, goofy nonsense like Mighty Med, Zack and Cody, Wizards of Waverly Place, Lab Rats, to actual things that are important to society, like Avatar, The Office, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Smosh the movie. So I just thought that was cool. Shout out to Sean, congratulations on not being related to Steven Crowder. Taking London's hot pink private jet with her face printed on the wing, they land at the airport that Dan Murrell always complains about. And after nearly forgetting their luggage, decide to explore the glowing city of Los Angeles. Look at them, they're on a beach and everything. As I indicated in part 1, this is literally the first time these characters have actually been outside and not just on a soundstage since the first episode of the entire series. It's liberating. It's a glorious 2 minutes of them doing weird ass stuff on a beach. This is exactly what my friends and I do when we go to the beach. We whatever the hell they're doing here. The Tipton CGI model has been moved to a photo of California as the cast visits the Tipton, LA.
You're kidding.
And after this, they head over to the writers' offices to do interviews. And I think it's a really wonderful series of vignettes that highlight who these characters are really well.
Mr. Mosby, what's the funniest thing that ever happened at the hotel?
Funniest thing?
Oh, okay. One time, we ran out of pillow mints. So instead, we had to use... Wait for it. Nougat! Nougat!
I'm rich.
I know, I've got 5 pads of that.
Yay me!
Yeah, I got 6 pads of that.
I'm rich.
Hugh Normus from Wizards of Waverly Place is also here, played by the actor Josh. I also appreciate that Zack and Cody tell the writers a bunch of stories that we, the audience, have never heard of before, rather than just referencing past episodes. It creates the impression that what we see of Zack and Cody is just the tip of the iceberg, just a fraction of the hijinks they get up to in this hotel.
Oh, the fire department found the monkey in the vent.
No. The police department found the python in the vent.
Then who found the monkey?
Nobody. It's still somewhere in the hotel.
The next day, the entire show has already been cast and the set has been built. This was one remarkably efficient television production. I love when sitcoms do this. I love when they move the camera a little bit farther back and just show the actual set and actual soundstage and pretend that it's a replica of the real location we always visit. Did this in his 4th season with The Island. Our cast meets their cast. Maddie's about the same. Carrie is played by a 22-year-old to make her hip and more appealing to young audiences. London has been gender swapped because the executives want romance between the candy counter girl and the hotel heir.
But I would never date Maddie. She's not my type. She's poor.
Do note that London does not at all bring up Maddie being a girl as a factor.
B, what's up, man? Peep this crib. It's tight, huh?
Well, this man cannot possibly play me. It's an abomination. This man cannot possibly play me. It's an abomination. You'll do.
I like the idea that Mr. Mosby doesn't understand that actors can act, and that's pretty in line with what we saw of him in the previous episode. The twins playing Zack and Cody make it clear that they're only here because their movie deal fell through. All the producers and directors laugh in their chairs to emulate laugh tracks for the actors. And I'm like, holy shit, does that actually happen? That was like a wake-up call for me. I never even considered that a possibility. Unfortunately, the production is ground to a halt when the producers decide they don't like the boys and want them to be a bit older. They only bring this up after the boys were cast. And the producers ask, oh, man, where are we gonna find 2 young, charming, charismatic little twin boys? Now Zack and Cody do damage in the luggage cart in the background, and that's when the writers have an incredible idea. They offer the twins themselves an opportunity to star as themselves in a TV show about their lives, and they eagerly accept, much to Carrie's hesitation. I should clarify before any of you jokers open your silly mouths, this is not a fourth wall break. This is simply meta. There's a difference. The characters do not know that they're in a show. For all intents and purposes, it's not a show. It's just real life. The fourth wall remains completely intact. The episode just subtly alludes to what lies beyond. That's the cliffhanger we're left on for part 1. Will Zack and Cody spend the entire rest of the show working as actors in Hollywood? Find out next time.
The Sweet Life goes Hollywood.
We're gonna be my 2 favorite things, rich and famous.
Coming next month to Disney Channel.
The Sweet Life Goes Hollywood Part 2 sees a return of a more traditional A-B story structure. Carrie tries to convince her kids to stay in Boston, but they're not taking her word for it. At this point, Mr. Mosby walks in with my favorite line of his in the entire show.
Ha! They call this a deluxe hotel? I asked for a 7 a.m. wake-up call. You know what time they called me? 7:03! Shoddy! Shoddy, I tell ya! Oh, now maybe on the West Coast 7 means 7:03, but on the East Coast 7 means 7 on the nose.
The utter passion behind this is unparalleled.
Boys, whatever this woman is saying, I want you to listen up. She knows what she's talking about.
She wants us to dump the TV show and move back to Boston.
Oh, have you lost your mind, woman?
No, I haven't, man!
Sorry. Look, this would be a wonderful opportunity for me.
So Zack and Cody hit the set and film with their 22-year-old mother.
Mommy, I love you.
They knew what they were doing here. On the set, Carrie gets in trouble for yelling cut in the middle of a scene to discipline her kids, prompting the director to go off on her.
So you probably don't know this. We all have a job to do. My job is to say cut. Your job is not to do my job. So can you do that? Can you not do my job?
No, I mean, yes. I mean, whatever the correct answer is, I'm so sorry.
And this isn't just some actor they brought in. This is an actual episode director from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody named Richard Correll, who remains working for the Disney Channel to this day. And the seething passion he yells this line with makes you wonder if this was written in allusion to something that has actually happened on the set. It would not surprise me given how many child stars walk in and out of the doors, how many parents are probably behind the camera. As a matter of fact, this whole special just keeps making jokes about Hollywood and sitcom production, and it just feels like a series of in-jokes that we're not in on.
We'll make plenty of new friends here. Hey, we've already started. The prop man gave us his picture and resume.
How sweet it is. That's S-U-I-T-E. Get it? All right, see if you get this one. If you don't laugh, you don't get any pizza!
On set, as the show films his first episode in front of a live studio audience, Cody starts to get stage fright and stumbles over his lines, causing frustration from Zack and the director. Zack starts to fill in Cody's lines for him, causing him to argue on the stage.
Maybe he wouldn't steal it if you remembered to say it.
Oh, well, I was going to say it. I was just taking a dramatic pause.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's really good, a dramatic pause. Only this isn't a drama. It's a comedy.
The director yells at them throughout the episode. And I know they play up the harshness of Hollywood in this special, but I would not be surprised if these poor kids were getting yelled at during the actual production. I'd be shocked if they weren't. Zack and Cody's fight becomes physical, and at this point, the directors have had enough. They're fired from their own show and replaced by special guest stars the Australian pop duo the Veronicas. Carrie basically tells her kids, "I told you so," as she'd warned them earlier the stress of show business would tear them apart if they weren't careful. They apologize and make up. Mr. Mosby receives the terrible news that the twins will be moving back to Boston, and he has a mental breakdown. London and Maddie, meanwhile, are paired together for a story once again. After getting kicked out of the filming, they explore Hollywood backlots and see the dreamy movie star Johnny Vane.
Well, let's go celebrity hunting! Oh, found one! Me!
At first, I 100% wholeheartedly assumed that Johnny Vane was some D-list guest star they were bringing in. I didn't really catch the lack of an audience applause sound effect, but I eventually realized like halfway through that this is a parody of famous, non-controversial film star Johnny Depp. They steal wardrobes and sneak onto the set to see him. Unfortunately for them, they stole the outfits of the stunt doubles, who are themselves booted from the lot by the world's strongest man. Maddie and Lyndon are supposed to fight and hop from a railing, taking orders from a very funny actor playing a director.
Won't that hurt?
Not if you fall on this pad.
But it's way down there, and it's filthy.
Oh, that's just a little dried blood. Don't let that scare you. I think the person lived.
Turns out this guy was one of the main cast members in Laverne and Shirley, one of the most popular sitcoms of all time. His name was Eddie Mecca. Rest in peace. Very silly from what I've seen of him in this one episode of Zack and Cody. This episode has really refreshing camera shots and angles, because it doesn't matter if you show the lights up above. The whole episode explicitly takes place on sound stages, so I think it's really cool and a nice visual change of pace from the static shots that are in every other episode of the show. Anyways, London and Maddie, they just kind of fall. And I think it's even funnier to think that they were replaced with stunt doubles themselves for this actual fall. Then they have to fight in the mud pit, and it's just sort of, it doesn't quite have the goofy innocence of the clothing fight from season 1. The producers just wanted these girls to fight. And then once all is said and done, quite predictably, they are switched with the real actors after all of that, and they don't even get to kiss non-controversial film star Johnny Depp. Then suddenly, the real stunt doubles arrive.
I told you, those are the imposters. 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 Imposters.
Sussman. The girls flee the set and they get dragged away by a horse. Me when I get dragged away by a horse. So I super remember The Sweet Life Goes Hollywood. This is one of the first ones I went to rewatch when I was doing this project. I think it's a really fun special, an invigorating change of pace and scenery. Even just putting the different banner in their window of their suite goes such a long way to make this one feel different than the previous 70 episodes, which all felt about the same. I mentioned at the top of this that I remember watching this live, and that means for the duration of the show, I most likely watched these episodes as they came out on Disney Channel night of premieres, because I was very in tune to the Disney Channel at this age. So I'm excited because we're reaching a point where I have a lot more thorough, conscious memories of the episodes. This episode makes me think of the Danimal sweepstakes for some reason. They must have had some sort of cross-promotional thing, or a Danimal sweepstake where you could go to Hollywood or something.
Nude crush cups. Check it out. I crush the alien. Well, I crush the director. I crush the tiki. I crush a Danimals Crush Cup. Huh? Yeah, new Danimals Crush Cups. You crush it and slurp it. Mmm, cool. No spoon? Nope. Just crush and slurp for a blast of fruity flavor. Mmm, awesome. I crush you crushing a Danimals Crush Cup. New Danimals Crush Cups. Danimals, get your blast on.
Season 2, episode 38, I Want My Mummy, is an episode with a lot of moving parts, and it's a rare instance where there's not a disconnected A-B structure, but rather everyone's playing a role in the same singular story. London returns from Peru, after Mr. Tipton bought a number of cultural artifacts from an adventurous archaeologist named Dakota Smith, who, in case you didn't catch it, is a riff on Indiana Jones. I'll be honest, both times I watched this episode, I myself did not catch that. Thankfully, the Wikia pointed it out for me. London's taken an ancient emerald as a necklace, while the rest of the artifacts snatched from an ancient pyramid will be displayed inside the Tipton itself, including the mummified remains of the legendary Queen Quiqui, who Esteban recognizes and fears due to a terrible curse that's said to be placed upon anyone who disturbs her or separates her from her tomb and her emeralds. All of that happens in just the cold open before the theme song. Look, there's a lot going on here. Also, it took me until my second watch to realize this episode, I think, accidentally reveals what Esteban's country is.
It's me, not you, back from Peru.
My village lies in the shadow of Queen Quiqui's pyramid.
Esteban's mysterious off-screen country is Peru, the primary location of Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I'm personally choosing to believe that the tribe the Maximals stay with is in fact Esteban's village. So let's dive into the plot. Protesters have gathered outside the Tipton, which would probably happen if an ancient artifact was pillaged from a tomb and displayed in a hotel's ballroom. Maddie and Esteban team up to steal the mummy and ship it back to Peru, wrapping up a creepy baby doll in its place. Zack and Cody, meanwhile, sneak into Indiana Jones' suite to look at the mummy, but they unfortunately knock it off the balcony in a way that only they could.
Quit pushing! Why are you gonna cry? Oh.
It lands on an awning, and Zack needs to crawl down to get it. Unfortunately, Indiana Jones is coming back any moment, so Zack's solution is to wrap Cody up with toilet paper and let him sit in the mummy exhibit until he can climb down to get the real mummy, sneak it to the exhibit, and swap them out. So Cody gets displayed in the ballroom, and Skippy from earlier in the season stands on guard. He's finally named Skippy at this point.
Take one down, pass it around, one bottle of pop on the wall.
Cody falls asleep in the coffin, and that's when Maddie and Esteban are able to sneak past Skippy and put the creepy doll in the tomb, to unknowingly ship Cody to Peru. Then Zack teams up with London to sneak past Skippy again and put the real mummy in place of the doll. Zack now is fully under the impression that Cody was turned into a doll due to the curse of the mummy and grapples with the fact that he's responsible for losing his brother. Preparing to ship Cody, Esteban keeps saying, "Yikes, Maddie, I think it's moving," and she's like, "Don't be ridiculous, Esteban," until of course he gets up and tries to get their attention, and then they flee in fear, and it's a whole chase, and Zack confesses to his mom that her beloved son was cursed by a mummy and turned into a doll. But then Cody enters and all sorts of chaos ensues before he's eventually unwrapped and everyone figures out what happened. Indiana Jones accidentally lets slip that the mummy and the amulet were fake the entire time and he's a fraud. Then the main characters in the room all vote to ship Queen Quiqui's treasures back to her pyramid via Maddie's truck. And I don't think any of the characters have the authority to decide that, seeing as it was Mr. Tipton's decision and Mosby wasn't consulted, but whatever. And then luckily Cody pisses himself, in case you were worried that wouldn't happen. London herself becomes the attraction that the guests pay to see instead of the mummy, and everything gets resolved. I think this one's delightful. There's so many moving parts. There's 3 distinct mummies, but it's all communicated so clearly, so even the young kids watching know exactly what's happening at any given time. Just 10 out of 10. I would give this one like 12 out of 12 even. I mean, it's pretty good.
All new tomorrow. The guys take an aptitude test.
I'm going to be a garbage man? There must be some mistake.
Now somebody needs an attitude check.
Why don't we go celebrate how I cleaned up on Wall Street while Cody here just cleans up?
The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Tomorrow at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
In the second season's finale, episode 39, Aptitude, Cody and Zack take an online personality test, which determines that Zack will become a successful CEO, while Cody will simply become a janitor. Believing the website's assessment of their full potential, Zack begins committing himself to things and trying in life, while Cody loses all motivation to do anything. It definitely feels reminiscent of when they adopted each other's personalities when they thought their birth certificates got switched back in Poor Little Rich Girl from season 1. They both wind up having the exact same dream, something which Zack did not think was possible back in The Sweet Smell of Excess earlier this season.
I decided to buy an island instead.
That's Australia!
Well, after the deal closes, it'll be Zackstralia. I'm here. What's going on? I just made another $1 trillion. I'm so rich, they had to make up a new number. Clean up this mess, but save the confetti for next time. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Yes, it does, sir. Remember, you had Zack Labs create a money tree?
How could this have happened? I was supposed to be successful.
You've got misery.
Carrie's in a tough spot as she tries to tell Cody the test means nothing while telling Zack it does. Ultimately, she decides to track down the creator of the poll, and that brings them to the office of some random loser.
Why is there a shoe under the desk? Excuse me.
No one's here.
We'd like to ask you a question.
Are you from the IRS? Because I swear my returns are in the mail.
We're not from the government.
Collection agency?
Nope.
How may I help you?
Carrie goes off on this man like full Karen.
We're here about your dang assessment test. You can't pigeonhole my son. You can't tell him who he is.
Who is he?
Cody Martin?
Don't know him.
My son is going to grow up to be whatever he wants to be, not what you tell him to be.
Kay.
Kay? You throw my son's life into turmoil and all you can say is Kay?
Okay.
This is but a simple appetizer for how perpetually angry Carrie will be by the end of season 3. Meanwhile, the Moroccan ambassador is checking into the Tipton Hotel, and London makes Mosby go all out to redecorate the hotel to accommodate him. When he starts choking on a meatball at dinner, Maddie's able to save his life and winds up becoming a miniature celebrity, stealing the spotlight from London for a whole week with countless interviews and magazine cover showcases. In an attempt to stop Maddie's interview, London accidentally starts choking as well before Maddie saves her as well. If I were watching this live on TV and the girl is getting praised for saving someone from choking just happens to save someone else from choking, I would think that was so suspicious. But in this instance, it literally was an accident, because London wasn't trying to choke. She just messed up, because she's not that intelligent. Alas, Maddie's 15 minutes of fame quickly runs out, but Mosby convinces her to take solace in the good deeds she did and the lives she saved. And that is season 2. Doing 2 handguns to symbolize the 2 different seasons that we just talked about. That's pretty good, I think, you know. Clap for me.
Please clap.
Welcome back to the Key and Carlisle Gaming Channel, where we're gonna game through the Zack and Cody franchise console to console. At this point, we've reached the Nintendo DS, where there were 2 Zack and Cody games. Tipton Treble from 2006 and Circle of Spies from 2007. These are kind of one and the same. They share, I'm not really sure what the term is, but it's like they have the same assets, map, world, and everything. Just a sequel, introduce a couple of new things. It's like what Tears of the Kingdom is to Breath of the Wild. But they're basically like the same thing. So we'll just play one of them today. And this one has an interesting childhood history. My sister used to have this game when she was in 5th grade, but then, when emptying out her backpack one day, she mistakenly threw it away. By the time she went back to school to try to find her game, the trash had been taken out. So it is my great pleasure to reunite Kayla Carlisle with The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Tipton Trouble. All right, Kayla.
Hello.
I have something to give you, which might harken back to childhood for you.
Okay. My pregnancy.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about earlier than when you were 15 years of age.
Yes, I'm ready.
It's a gift for you to open.
Okay. Why? I like the wrapping paper.
This is Christmas dinosaurs.
Are you serious? I threw this game away on accident in 5th grade.
Yeah, I know.
And I cried. Mom and Dad wouldn't get me a new one. Oh, man. Where'd you find this? Did you take it out of my backpack in 5th grade?
Nope.
Oh.
Are you ready to game?
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Okay, yeah. Oh, let's do it. This was in the zipper in my backpack in 5th grade, and I went to the garbage at school, and I was trying to empty out all the garbage, and I dumped out that pocket. When I got home that night, I realized that my new Nintendo DS game was in it. And I told Mom and Dad, and they said, well, that's too bad.
No, I remember as a kid, you had a DS, but I didn't because I was just a little guy. And so I just had to like breathe over your shoulder to watch you play DS games. And
I know, that was so annoying.
We were a poor family.
We were very poor.
We could only afford one DS. Okay, so it turns out that the DS is dead and I did not bring a charger, so I did not think this through very well. We're going to play it on a larger DS.
Dude, you're gonna summon the ghosts. Stop.
Freeze. Do you remember all this?
No. Oh my gosh,
that's where we are.
Oh my gosh, there's Esteban.
Here you are, Zack. You must help me.
I forgot my wallet at the gym and I can't leave my post or Mr. Mosby will kill me. Could you get it for me? I will be eternally grateful.
Sure, Esteban. I wanted to try the cool new exercise machines anyway. What?
That does not sound like him.
I was trying to embody the spirit of the character. Okay, so we have to get Esteban's thing from the gym. Oh, here, there's an elevator button. Oh, the Tipton Hotel has key cards in their elevators. Fancy.
I love how he runs with his palms up. The graphics are so bad.
I think you mean good.
I don't remember this game at all. It's not familiar to me. I think I lost the game within the first few days I got it, so I never played much.
Well, hold on. I thought you got it for your birthday, which is April. And then
I don't remember.
Oh.
How do you remember that? You were like 4.
I was just really interested in what DS games you had.
You're such a sweat at this game.
Explain the lore of the word sweat.
My son informs me that that is what they say these days, the youth. He's 10. I will just hear him in his room saying these things I've never even heard of before, and he tells me that that's what the kids say these days.
Such a sweat when you're good
Bro,
at
you're
something.
such a sweat? Yeah, it means you're good. I don't really get the logic. Maybe you're super sweaty because you're going so hard. I don't know.
From your TikTok background, this must be really foreign to not have a Bang energy drink just right in the forefront of the shot.
I know. I feel extremely undercaffeinated.
Cody, Zack is trapped in the gym. I saw him through the security camera. He broke the steam pipe, feeding the spa. Oh, now we go to Cody. Oh, right, Zack just broke something, so now it dispatches Cody to save him.
A child is stuck in a vent, and so they give you a water balloon?
And they ask another child to go save him. Do you think we're the first people to play this DS game in this hotel?
Yes.
But I remember like the elevator screen. See, it's like I retained more from watching over your shoulder than you did from playing it.
Clearly.
Man, I am gaming. I am a sweat.
It looks like they're on the cruise ship.
No, it's just a really large gym. The cruise ship hadn't even been conceived yet.
That is so much pounds. There's no way you're pushing that.
Oh, I have to suck them down.
Why?
To get them. Oh, what the hell?
Why do you need them?
I don't remember. This dispenser allows me to refill projectiles in my vacuum cleaner.
This game
in English?
This game makes no sense, though.
You're telling me that a Zack and Cody DS game isn't fully logical? What have you done this time? Nothing, I just came here to get Esteban's wallet, and unfortunately, those dumb dumbbells broke those... This is not like how these characters talk. Broke those pipes.
What? One of them needs to jump over that?
I think so. We should do this in real life.
If you go enough Sometimes I bet he'll break through.
You're such a sweat.
I'm a sweat. Okay, Cody's turn.
That's the key to this puzzle.
They make different sounds.
But it's just one sound over and over.
I like how it doesn't really hurt them.
No!
I would have preferred to not see this game again and ruin the nostalgic memory.
The memory you don't even have.
Yep.
I remember as a kid, there was like 1 year for Christmas, we could only get one Wii game. I remember this.
So we got the Michael Jackson dance game that I wanted.
Yes! Okay, I remember I wanted Mario Kart Wii, and you wanted Michael Jackson Dance.
And what did we get?
And then you only played it like twice.
I played it every day for a year.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. I can moonwalk. Why else would I be able to moonwalk? How would I be able to do this?
Is that Michael Jackson himself?
Yes, probably his ghost.
Well, seeing as we cannot get through this puzzle, and we're very behind schedule, how are you emotionally okay with saying farewell to Zack and Cody tipped in trouble one last time?
Bonjour. So I didn't know that we speak French here in Canada.
Well, we don't.
And by we, I meant we do.
We. Subscribe to Sibling. Subscribe to Sibling. Despite 65 episodes having been produced, enough to keep the show in syndication every weekday of the year, the overwhelming popularity of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody allowed it to escape cancellation, much like Kim Possible and That's So Raven shortly before. The third season consisted of 22 episodes, which aired from June 23rd, 2007 to September 1st, 2008. Unlike a lot of final seasons in Disney shows, the third maintains the quality of the previous two. Granted, these shows' creatively stagnant final seasons tend to be their fourth, which The Sweet Life may have working in its favor. The season is actually less strictly episodic in nature. It introduces a number of temporary status quo changes in the form of new recurring characters and locations. Episodes will open with Zack and Cody working their new summer jobs, or Maddie working as a camp counselor without feeling the need to explain to the audience what they're doing or where they are, instead trusting the audience to remember the previous episodes. As such, we see the hotel the least we've ever seen it this season, although it's still definitely the primary backdrop of the series. Season 3 completely abandons much of the supporting cast. Agnes, Max, Warren. The show carries on without them just fine, but it does suffer from the frequent absences of two very prominent characters, Maddie and Esteban. Maddie is absent from 11 of the 22 episodes, as Ashley Tisdale was away filming High School Musical 2 while this season was in production. Esteban, meanwhile, is only present in 5 episodes, 4 of which are back to back to back to back, which makes his absence very noticeable when he appeared in over 50% of the episodes from each of the previous seasons. Their absences are filled by newer characters like Skippy and soon-to-come characters like Millicent and Nia, and they just don't fill the holes left by their predecessors. Let's go, starting with Season 3's first episode, Graduation. Zack and Cody are finally ready to graduate middle school. Well, half of them are. Zack, due to being a naughty, silly, goofy, quirkster king, is not gonna graduate. Something which he doesn't have the courage to confess to Carrie or Kurt, who's back in town to watch the ceremony.
Hey, Kurt! That's great, Dad!
Is that a normal interaction for divorced parents? So Zack devises a harebrained scheme to walk during the ceremony anyways.
I can't find my cap and gown.
Oh, well that's odd. Let's see.
This is the nonchalant third and final appearance of Mr. Forgis, who dates back to Season 1's banned dyslexia episode Smart and Smarterer. Zack calls Forgis in a very convincing voice and says they found his car in the bottom of the Charles River,
Bottom of the Charles River.
prompting Forgis to leave immediately.
Zack Martin!
Coming!
So Zack weasels his way into getting a diploma. But back at home when his parents gush about how proud they are of him, he breaks down and confesses the truth. They're furious, naturally, and Carrie declares that Zack will have to take summer classes now to join Cody in high school. Something which the show surprisingly follows up on later. Because these shows tend to only feature the characters who are relevant to the specific story they're telling within any given episode, all of Zack and Cody's friends are completely absent. Max, Bob, Agnes, Selena Gomez, etc. So I just choose to believe that none of them graduated. With the exception of Bob, we never see any of those people again, so they could still be in middle school to this day for all we know. There's a little runner where Cody and Barbara are both eagerly debating which of them will get to be the valedictorian of the class. I wrote and recorded a whole thing being like, what? Why is there only one valedictorian? Disney Channel logic moment. But now that I'm the research god, I was like, hold on, let me actually check. And apparently there is just only one sometimes, because in my school it was just anyone with a 4 points. In my year there were 4 valedictorians. But I also Googled it on the internet, and apparently the technical definition is that it's just the last person to speak at the ceremony. I invented research. I'm the inventor of research. So I actually called one of my high school's valedictorians just to make sure that my Zack and Cody commentary was correct. And I explained what all the technical definitions were, and she talked for a while.
I think they also take into consideration like sports and can bump you from like a very involved in like football and sports and have a speech at their graduation because it's something that anyone could do. You just have to
ignore the pink gaming chair. I was just holding that for a friend. And the conclusion we came to is just like IDK.
Let's just agree on one thing, my little cotangent. Whoever gets picked, the winner kisses the loser.
Oh, and also, they do specifically mention Barbara's earlier appearance at the spelling bee here, back before she was an established character.
I annihilated you in the spelling bee.
Meanwhile, Sister Dominic comes to the Tipton to tell Maddie that a local summer camp, Camp Heaven on Earth, is without a counselor and she could use Maddie's assistance. With permission from Mosby,
But I'm needed here at the Tipton.
We'll muddle through.
she takes summer off and comes to a ramshackle, miserable cabin in the middle of nowhere, which does not match the brochure, and it turns out is for behaviorally challenged girls.
You must be my co-counselor.
Oh, no. That's Leah. She's 12.
This girl is the little thief from Have a Nice Trip in season 2.
You're that little girl from the Tipton who conned me out of my watch. I won it fair and square. But if you're in the market for a new one, this one's real gold.
I always find it interesting when shows grab random, seemingly insignificant one-off characters from previous seasons and bring them back for multi-episode storylines in a consistent, prominent role. I just scratch my head like, why them in particular? And like, I'm not questioning the choice or anything, like she's fine, I don't have any issue with her. I'm just wondering like, what about her stood out to the executives and writers as someone who was worth bringing back above all the countless hundreds of other actors who showed up for one-off roles. Throughout the episode, when the girls are a nightmare, Maddie realizes this is not what she signed up for. Which, true, it isn't. Manipulative as hell on that nun's part. Maddie calls London and begs her to come and rescue her.
Who's there?
She actually does arrive, but unfortunately a tree falls and crushes the off-screen helicopter.
Welcome to Camp Heaven on Earth.
There's no mention of a pilot at all. Did they die? Or are we supposed to believe that London piloted her own helicopter? We'll never know. London thinks young Holly seems super sweet, because remember, that episode was one of Brenda's song's 2 absences. Weird that they paid attention to that detail. Dominic comes back to basically guilt Maddie into staying.
Well, I'm fresh out of counselors. Sorry, girls. Pack your bags.
Poor, pure-hearted Maddie is like, you know what, Sister Dominic? I'll stay. And then she does. So for this first chunk of the season, every time we see Ashley Tisdale, she's here at this cabin. I sort of suspect that as the actress got more and more famous, her schedule became a lot more constricted, tighter, and it may have been difficult to schedule her with the other actors. I sort of feel like relegating all of her scenes to this cabin, with minimal appearances from the other cast members, Zack and Esteban being the only 2 who briefly visit this set past this episode, was a move to ease the production schedule. Then these little kids would just come in to shoot scenes whenever Ashley Tisdale was available. I think this cabin story was also a vehicle to justify her upcoming absences. For the first portion of the season set during the summer, if Maddie didn't appear, you could just reasonably assume she's at camp. So the cork board's gonna go kind of crazy this season. To catch up to date, Bob and the British people pretty much stop appearing in season 3. They just have a mere 3 collective appearances between them. Is this gonna stay? Yes! Esteban really technically probably doesn't belong up here, given that he's barely in season 3, but I just like him, so he's gonna stay. You can't stop me. So this basically takes us back to the season 1 main cast, except for old Muriel. Remember Muriel? Wouldn't it be crazy if she came back? Boy, have we got a show for you. That was a VeggieTales reference. During the Lab Rats video, I made an executive decision and decided that Douglas Davenport was in fact a main character during season 4. It was controversial, it's hotly contested. To this day, I still get flagged down in the streets for that decision, but frankly, I stand by it. And today, we're gonna do something similarly bold. Maddie Fitzpatrick, no matter what the theme song claims, is not a main character in season 3. I mean, first off, she's gone from 11 episodes, which is half the season, but there's more to it than that. After this premiere, there's only 1 episode where Maddie leads a storyline. And Lance leads a storyline this season, so it's not like that's a prestigious role. Every time she shows up from here on out, she is a side character in someone else's B-plot. Think back to how many season 2 stories took place entirely from Maddie's POV, and then look at season 3, and it's night and day. She's barely in any episodes, and she's barely even in those episodes. So, frankly, oh, there's a hole. Is that already? Oh no, I ripped a hole. It's not even my corkboard. Okay.
Whose corkboard is it?
Gwen's.
You can't even afford your own corkboard?
Well, no, it's just she already had one. Maybe she won't notice.
A discovery so shocking,
Nerd. There's a nerd in summer school? Where?
you'll have to see it to believe it.
Hope you guys are gonna clean those up. I'll take that as a no.
The not-so-sweet life of Zack and Cody. All new next Saturday at 8, 7 Central.
Season 3, Episode 2, Summer of Our Discontent, focuses on Zack in summer school and basically puts him in Cody's position for an episode. In a class full of delinquents and sinners, Zack proves to be the sharpest and brightest of the group. The summer school teacher, Freddie's mom from iCarly, but pre-iCarly, encourages, nay, begs the rest of the class to be more like her shining pupil, Zack. Then he keeps getting bullied.
Any of you want to share a peanut butter and banana sandwich?
I'll take that as a no.
Fellow goofballs in the summer school class include Bully.
I've been coming here for 4 years. It's my name carved in the desk. Brick.
Brick? Is that because you're all red-faced and shaped like a giant rectangle?
Short for brick for
Nervous girl with a bag over her head. And this indecisive little loser who was previously in season 2's Club Twin. As the story paves on, Zack's the only one who's passing tests and set to graduate summer school. And the entire class decides to ask for his tutoring and comes to visit his suite. The bully hits on Carrie, who at this point in the show will be hit on by just about every single man who interacts with her in any capacity. In the end, Zack stands up for the class in front of Freddie's mom and tells her that they are sharp, intelligent kids who can rise to a challenge. She decides to give them more homework as a result, and Zack gets bullied again. Cody, meanwhile, is looking for a summer job.
A summer job at the hotel.
Forget it, we're not hiring hooligans.
We briefly meet Millicent, an absolute nervous wreck who's working the candy counter.
Sales? I'm supposed to charge people for candy?
Yes!
She's a bit of an interesting case because she does not do anything plot integral in any of her appearances. She's just a body behind the counter with a handful of lines every time she shows up, and she genuinely won't be mentioned in this video again because she doesn't do anything worth mentioning. A complete non-factor and kind of a confusing inclusion. Cody looks for work at the Paul Revere Mini Mart around the corner, and he's initially rejected by the manager, Wayne, until he sees that Cody knows London Tipton. Wayne tells Cody he'll hire him if he sets him up on a date with London, who he's romantically obsessed with and runs a fan blog about. London is not interested.
Do you think you can do me a teensy-weensy favor?
No.
You had no idea what I was even gonna say.
You were going to say, there's this guy who's obsessed with me because I'm the most amazing person in the world, and he just has to have a date with me.
That's not what I was going to say at all.
So Cody spins up a lie and says Wayne runs a fashion magazine and wants to interview London over dinner, while failing to disclose to Wayne what London thinks this dinner is. So the two of them are on completely opposite pages about why they're sitting at this table tonight. Chaos and silly hijinks ensue. Cody tries to correct and steer the conversation in any way he can, and they're both like, Cody, why are you here? And then eventually he's caught.
I have naturally low blood pressure, like a jungle cat.
And that helps you sell magazines?
Our date's gonna be in a magazine?
What's going on here?
Nothing, just your typical interview date.
London storms away, but Wayne is so pleased with what Cody did for him.
A lot of ladies want to take a spin on the tilt-away.
That he hires him at the store, where he'll regularly work for the next chunk of the show.
Those tropical spiders can get pretty big.
Oh, I get it. Try and scare the new kid.
Sure you can handle running this hotel? It's not an easy job, Kermit.
Well, I am used to chaos.
Oh, good. Then you will fit right in at the Tipton.
Season 3, Episode 3 of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is called Sink or Swim. Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2 of Lab Rats were called Sink or Swim. That is a combined total of 3 Season 3 episodes called Sink or Swim. In the third consecutive episode with continuity, we learn that Zack is done with summer school. Carrie, seeing that her son is a whole 14 years of age, decides it's high time for him to get a job and play his role in our capitalist society.
Well, now that you're done with summer school, why don't you try getting a job like Cody has?
Mr. Mosby, can I have a job?
No.
Arwen mentions that he's looking for a helping hand, and Zack decides to help him out. Unfortunately for Zack, Arwen works at the Nickelodeon Kid Choice Awards.
I think that's all of it.
Zack comes to hate Arwen's job. He starts skipping work, going to hang out with Cody at the mini mart instead. Wayne is hiring, and Cody's doing everything in his power to not let Zack learn that. He leaves Arwen to plug a leaking pipe with his hand while he takes 3 hours to go to the store and find duct tape.
Tired, hungry, thirsty.
I think there was a missed opportunity for him to drink the water and then just go tired, hungry, because get it? Like the water quenched his thirst after he drank it, and then so it like removes the word thirsty. Do you really need me to fucking explain this to you? Carrie shows up and tells Arwen that her son is taking advantage of him.
Oh, no. He just has a tendency to be a little tardy and leave early and not work when he's here. Okay, I really need to fix this leak.
Oh, here, try this.
Minty.
This episode has like 4 different plot lines, so let's just jump to the girl side of the story. The campers at Camp Heaven on Earth are being a little sneaky and naughty. They overhear Maddie's phone call with London, in which the latter mentions that she doesn't know how to swim, and decide to sell that information to a tabloid. So now, with a public first-page article about her being water illiterate, London enlists Lance's help to give her swimming lessons. At Lyndon's pool, inside her hotel suite, she learns to swim and gradually falls in love with Lance, who also falls in love with her. She calls Maddie to tell her about everything. I think the show, and Maddie herself, seem to have forgotten that Maddie previously dated Lance in season 1, which within the show's timeline is like 1 year ago. Maddie for gore, skull emoji. She does not seem bothered whatsoever by London, her best friend, dating her ex. The little girls then sell this information again. Maddie, after questioning where their luxury meals are coming from, figures out their plot. But they share their wealth with her, and when London's a dick to Maddie on the phone, Maddie just gives in and goes along with the girls.
Hot tub. Massage chair.
Karaoke machine.
What I'm trying to say is...
Maddie, I mean, you could have a boyfriend too, if you ever did something with that rat's nest you call hair. Now, what did you want to say?
that you can always confide in me. So, tell me all about you and Fish Boy. Write this down.
It just ends with Maddie selling off London's personal info to get some money, and is never brought up again. Season 3 has a ton of characters who have frequent appearances for like 10 episode sprints, and then just stop appearing. I included everyone from the Catholic school, so I guess for fairness sake, I'll throw all these characters in as they come and then take them down as they leave. I'm going to move Maddie right here. The first inductee is the Cabin Girls. There they are. The next two stories intersect when Zack is tasked with fixing the pool filter, and then doesn't, causing a terrible accident to occur.
You didn't do it? If that filter isn't changed in time, the entire plumbing system will get backed up into the... pool!
I'm not even gonna question why the entire plumbing system was in a position to get backed up into the pool.
Arwen, who is responsible for that?
I am, Mr. Mosby. I forgot to replace the filter.
Well, fix it! And you will pay for the damages!
Look, Arwen, thanks for taking the blame for me, man. I promise tomorrow.
You know what,
that...
just don't talk to me anymore.
Arwen's simultaneously so mature and so not. He's emotionally mature enough to not blame this child and have him take Mosby's whole wrath, but he still has this childlike, you hurt my feelings, don't talk to me energy as he walks away from Zack. The next day, Zack cleans and fixes everything all by himself, using all the new skills that Arwen taught him. He does this as a means of apologizing, and the apology is accepted. Hooray. That's great news. But Zack decides to go in a different career direction.
London tipped in dating Fish Boy.
What? She won't date me, but she'll date someone with gills?
Visiting the mini-mart again, he's so familiar with the store that he's able to correctly answer a customer's question about where to find things. Wayne is so impressed by Zack's knowledge of the establishment that he hires him on the spot, and Zack will now work with Cody at the Paul Revere mini-mart for the near future. Wayne. He's a weird guy.
All week? Didn't I mention that?
I can't believe you didn't know your twin was looking for a job.
Yeah, I can't believe it either.
3 shows, 1 shooting star.
Oh, look!
With sometimes wishes.
I wish there was just Hannah Montana all the time.
Have a way of going amiss. Disney Channel's Wish Gonna Miss Weekend. Coming next month to Disney Channel.
Season 3, Episode 4, Super Twins. I loved this one as a kid. This episode was part of the Disney Channel Wish Gonna Miss Night, which saw Corey Baxter, Miley Stewart, and Zack and Cody Martin wish on the same shooting star across their 3 shows, only to eventually regret it. The kids wish they could have superpowers.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you have no power. Whoa, look, a shooting star! Quick, close your eyes and make a wish. I wish I had superpowers. Good wish.
The next morning, they wake up and discover that, indeed, they have superpowers.
Huh, it's like you read my mind. Because I did read your mind. Oh, what am I thinking now? You took $5 from my wallet? I was gonna give it back. No, you weren't. Wow, you can read minds. Maybe I have the power to fly. Up, and down.
Unfortunately, they discover that Mr. Mosby has superpowers as well, and he's a supervillain.
Actually, I think I'm making too much. Could you please cut my salary?
Delighted! Dismissed.
Now remember, this is the early 2000s, when being a superhero is still special and cool. It's magical, it's exciting. As a kid, this is awesome as hell. It was so different from the rest of Zack and Cody. Adopting the moniker of the Meenager, Mosby recruits Arwen and Esteban as his minions. This episode, by the way, is a special effects extravaganza. I think most film historians would agree that CGI peaked here in terms of photorealism and artistic expression. Mosby as Arwen built him an adultifier ray, which will turn all children in the world into adults.
Bob, are you okay?
The name's Robert.
Ah, the Green Ray makes suits.
It was a nice suit, too.
It doesn't make suits!
He needs diamonds to power it, which he intends to steal from London and the pedophile mirror in its final appearance.
No diamond can compare to that sparkle in your eyes.
You're right, Mir. But I'm still not taking to the chateau in France.
Someone's looking puffy.
The twins decide they have to stop it, but Mosby's one step ahead. He has Esteban kidnap Maddie and Arwen kidnap Carrie, forcing the twins to save them and get out of Mosby's way.
Oh, you will never beat the Meenager and Esteban!
Wow, that was fantastic. You really do have superpowers.
That's not something a guy lies about, baby.
You look a little tense. I could give your shoulders a little massage.
No.
I wrote you a song. You want to hear it?
No, what I want is to be let go!
I love Carrie, she's pretty as a fairy. I love Carrie, forgive me if I stary.
I thought it was painful being tied up.
They do, fortunately, save their two victims and return, and Mr. Mosby still has not gotten the diamond from London, so that didn't accomplish much, did it? The Meenager fires the adultifier, but the twins dart out of the way, and the pedophile mirror saves the day.
It turns kids into adults. I wonder what it turns adults into.
Well, it's not until the very final 3 minutes of the episode when it's like, oh yeah, they have to regret their wish eventually. Zack and Cody want to kick back and relax, but there's just too many people to save.
Ooh, I think I'd start with the giant spider that's climbing City Hall. We just ate the mayor.
They decide to run super fast and reverse time to the point where they saw the shooting star, to prevent themselves from having ever seen it.
I think you ran us back a little too far. You think? Hop on!
I think this is the weirdest thing I've seen in any of these shows so far. In the end, we learn very firmly that it was all a dream Zack had after eating too much pizza before going to bed. The adultifier is simply an atomic toilet plunger. There's no last-minute reveal that it did all happen like the alternate dimension episode had back in season 2. The sweet smell of excess. This one's simply too outlandish for the tone of the show and had to be rendered non-canon. But keep this one in mind, because if memory serves, the Sweet Life on Deck will become this batshit insane by the end of its run, and all of it will still be canon. As we approach the end of this hotel show, the boat follow-up looms on the horizon, and it's gonna slowly start creeping into the discussion a bit more. Keep in mind though, that at the time of writing and making and filming this right now, I have not watched The Sweet Life on Deck. I mean, I did as a kid, but I haven't rewatched it in the present yet.
9 votes are in, and your pick for Extreme Rock, Paper, Scissors MVP is Dylan Sprouse. Congrats to the big winner. You can go online to DisneyChannelGames.com and pick who you think should be the Disney Channel Games MVP for the outrageous obstacle course.
Barring Super Twins, which was released out of order, Season 3, Episode 5, Who's the Boss, is the 4th consecutive entry in this mini stint of episodes which all pick up directly after the previous one, as we see Zack's first day at the Paul Revere mini-mart. He's lazy, brash, and absolutely refuses to respect Cody's authority as senior bagger.
And how are my little Minutemen doing?
You're not the boss of me. Yes, I am. Drop dead. You first.
That good, huh?
Vance hits on Carrie because that's every man's prerogative at this point in the show. And Wayne winds up liking Zack way more than Cody.
You got someone else to do your work for you and then took credit for it?
Well,
Nice! You have real management potential.
thanks.
Cody decides to recruit Arwen to make him a device that'll get him back in favor with his manager. Arwen creates a pair of robotic arms, which he repurposed from a failed letter sorter earlier in the episode. I do not understand the correlation between these machines at all. There is no commonality between this thing and this thing.
Must find doctor.
What would you do if I told you, if I looked you right in the eyes and I told you that Arwen's newest invention did not work? How would you react? What would be your live reaction to that information? Oh, there's chaos, there's carnage, oh good heavens, it's all going awry. The show is a lot more cartoony than it was in season 1, but I feel like that's not atypical for comedies that run up until season 3 and beyond.
You're fired!
Zack decides to fess up that his disrespect of Cody is what caused all of this. It's his fault. So Wayne hires Cody back as Zack's equal, putting them on the same playing field and restoring their relationship. The B-plot is led by Lance. Like, literally, why do I have no memory of this character? He led storylines. When London's bratty friends from her book club last season make fun of him for being a poor schlub, he decides he needs to play the part of a posh upperclasser to make London happy and less embarrassed.
And I want to go and prove to her that I can fit in with her high society world. Help me.
Why are you asking me?
You're stuck up and snooty.
For some reason, Mosby's teaching Lance about polite society in the Martins' apartment. I don't think there's ever a justification given for this choice of venue. Most of the plentiful Tipton sets that were frequently shown throughout season 1 and 2 seem to be fully absent in the 3rd, so I guess there's a lot less rooms to use now. But wouldn't like Mosby's office or the lounge sets that are still here have made more sense than the Martins' apartment? Lance learns how to be epic and fancy, but London, meanwhile, feels bad and decides to come down to his level. So they meet at a fancy rich person banquet, with Lance being a suave gentleman who catches the attention of London's pals, and London looking like this.
Oh my.
But this confirms to both of them that they love each other, and now they're besties, who are in love. Maddie shows up very briefly in this one, as London calls her a couple times to be like, what do I do? I'm so sad. And Maddie just gives her best advice. I think her reduced appearances might be an attempt to ease the child audience into her imminent absence. Because yes, right after this episode, the Maddie drought formally begins. Ashley Tisdale is gone quite a bit going forward. We never get any sort of resolution to this camp story at all, which is really weird. We never learn if the girls reform or see the end of the summer. It ends as awkwardly and abruptly as it began.
So what's going on with London?
Boyfriend problems. But you guys are too young to hear about that sort of stuff.
I have a boyfriend.
I have 2. I've had 3.
I'm married.
Twins are loose in the lobby in the sweet life of Zack and Cody. With all this going on, downtime is out of the question.
Yeah, darn right, yeah. Well, I just need a little something to wake me up.
The not anything close to lazy weekend afternoons. Weekends starting at 3/2 Central on Disney Channel.
Episode 6, Baggage, sees the introduction of Nia, Mr. Mosby's rambunctious niece.
Officer, I don't care if it's been less than 24 hours. My niece Nia is missing.
Uncle Marion.
1 second, Nia. She's 5'1", 16 years old. Well, she's wearing blue jeans and a white blouse. Ah!
Much like Maddie in London before her, the show is pretending that Nia's 16. Just go along with it. I had been curious to see her again because I do remember her. I remember she replaced Maddie at the candy counter for a while, and then she has a big fight with Maddie when she comes back, but I don't actually remember anything else about her. She is also a delinquent troublemaker, a trait which surprisingly never gets used as a companion to Zack and Cody's similar nature in any of her appearances. She comes to live with her uncle, Mr. Mosby, for the summer because she's too wild for her family or any other family members to handle her. Mosby's determined to straighten her out and teach her discipline by having her work at his 5-star hotel, which he tries to keep orderly. I see no possible way that this could go wrong. Certainly not out of character for Mr. Mosby. He would never be out of character. Nia becomes entranced by the rich and famous London Tipton and begins falling into London's party lifestyle, something Mosby is none too happy with.
I still don't understand. If I'm taking your shift so you can go to a concert, why are you still getting the money?
Hello? It's my shift.
Okay, let's hit it, girlfriend.
Don't do that.
You got it, sister.
That either. Ever.
After a concert, they decide to throw a massive party in London's suite together. Now at the mini mart, Zack and Cody are still 9 to 5 grinding away. This is the first time we've actually seen them bagging things despite their job titles as baggers. I think the show feels very different when half of it takes place at this store. It's just not the same when Zack and Cody are never at the hotel, but luckily that's a short-lived problem. Carl Pitts, the manager of the Betsy Ross Stop and Shop across the street from the Paul Revere Mini Mart, is apparently Wayne's bitter rival. They decide to have their employees do a bagging contest to see who can bag things faster. Here's some clips of it from later in this banger episode. And something I didn't notice as a kid is that this doesn't happen. There aren't bagging contests. Zack and Cody have to practice and stay sharp to win this bagging competition. But oh no, they wind up getting enthralled at London's party, which is so loud it's disturbing all guests across all floors of this hotel.
Hey! Pipe down!
Carrie is entering her Karen era and she will not ever leave it.
Hey!
Well, you're not gonna yell at me, are you?
No, I just want to know what's going on.
Well, nothing much. Just taking a couple night courses, animal husbandry, etiquette.
About the noise!
Carrie convinces Skippy to call Mosby to get this party crisis under control.
What'd he say?
Mosby said he'd be here as soon as possible.
Oh, but that could take...
I'm here!
Seconds.
Please relax and stay calm. Wonderful.
Mr. Mosby, don't you have an access card that opens every door in this hotel?
Oh, yes, but I'm afraid I left it at home.
Oh, here, use Zach's. Don't give me that look. I confiscated it from him.
Yes, you're Mother of the Year.
Well, at least the children left in my care are safe in bed and not partying like wild animals.
Yeah, baby, shake it.
I just came up here to get Zack, but then I met Sheena, and she awakened the sleeping man that lies within me.
Everyone's in trouble.
We didn't destroy the hotel.
There's a futon in my ficus.
I would have a doctor look at that.
You two are grounded for a month.
Could it be last month? I'm busy this month.
Nia's worried that Mosby will kick her out, but he tells her he's not willing to give up on her.
I promised your mother that I would turn you into a responsible young adult. Though I bitterly regret it, a promise is a promise.
Wow. No one has ever taken that much interest in me, Uncle Marion. Thank you.
Bro is sabotaging his own hotel. I feel like the guests being able to sleep at a hotel they're paying $2,000 a day for is a little bit more important than you making sure your niece knows you care about her. At least to Mr. Mosby it would be. Zack and Cody are so sleepy after partying all night that they lose the bagging contest. Now they all have to dress up as Betsy Ross and sing a little ditty outside as punishment. And this little Paul Revere storyline, much like the summer camp storyline, vanishes after this episode. We never see Wayne again, we never see the store again. We don't know if they quit or got fired, although we can kind of infer on this one, seeing as this was just their summer job, as mentioned back when they started. So I think they just quit when the school year starts. It's probably not a big mystery. This one didn't have any character journeys it set up, like the girls at the cabin, so this one's, I would say, hardly a loss. But it's weird that they spend so much energy establishing this new mini status quo, and then just tear it down without acknowledging it again. Now, oh thank heavens, Wayne's reign has come to an end.
You have one message for your fiercest opponent. What would it be?
Probably that King Cole is coming to you, and he's not a merry old soul.
If you could send a message out to one of your competitors out here, what would it be?
I would give a little shout out to Miley. Back there on the show, you might be the queen, but out here, I'm gonna dominate you.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory. So this one and the next 6 episodes are the only ones that I'm filming after the release of part 1. I had already changed my lights from orange to white for something else, and I don't feel like changing them back. So I'm in a position to do a nice post-mortem for some of the goofums in part 1. There really weren't that many this time. There wasn't an editing thing. Many people asked why there seems to be Mario Kart gameplay footage as the undercurrent of a small section of the video. And they have asked if that was intentional. That was not. My editing process, when plopping in the music, I do that last, and I just think, what a Mario Kart / Club Penguin track would be fun to put here. Moo Moo Meadows. And then I'll search it on my hard drive, because if I already have it, I don't want to download a new one, and I'll drag it into the timeline. A while back on my main channel, I did a video called Designing Transformers Kart, which required me to download some Mario Kart gameplay footage, and it seems what happened is I dragged some of that into the timeline, and I want you to know, I proof watched this 4+ hour video 4 separate times, and none of those times did I hear the sound effects at all. So I feel really silly. That was an accident. I had a strict mission statement when filming, this entire Zack and Cody adventure, which is to keep in mind a total of 3 comments which left constructive criticism telling me to look at the lens instead of the rectangle. And as a result, I got billions more comments telling me that they don't like me looking directly at the lens and saying that I'm not blinking and it's making them uncomfortable. And I was just focusing so hard on looking at this and not looking down at the script and not looking at the rectangle that I thought if I blinked, my eyes might go down here. And so I think I just forgot to blink because I was so focused on looking at the lens, which as it turns out, no one wanted me to do. So I think the lesson I may have learned here is that maybe not all YouTube comments are correct, which I had never considered as a possibility. I never would have imagined there would be dissenting opinions in my audience of millions. Now, Season 2, Episode 7, The Sleepover Suite. Blinking. For the first time in a long time, we see Ivana. This is the first time we've seen her since Season 2, Episode 9, Books and Birdhouses, and it's sadly the final time we'll see her, so let's cherish her. Zack and Cody are pet-sitting her when London's on vacation, and for some reason they're always in charge of her suite, as if she doesn't have, people for that. There's no mention of her ever paying them. I hope they're getting money for this. But anyways, the twins accidentally knock down London's prized marble bust of herself. The marble bust that she's always had, that she's always cherished throughout all of these episodes, that's been right in her suite, that one. So now they need to look for a way to raise the money it'd take to replace it. Cody has a crush on a girl named Stacy. Step aside Barbara, I guess, and she wants to host her birthday party at the Tipton Hotel of all places. However, she's turned away due to a lack of available rooms.
But I really wanted to have my birthday slumber party here.
Free for our guests who spend $2,000 a day.
Zack and Cody decide to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, renting out London's suite for the birthday party, both winning Cody Stacy's love and funding the replacement of the statue. The statue that apparently only cost $2,000. Stacy also kisses a boy right in front of her mom, which is very bold of her, I suppose. So the party's going smoothly. Nia poses as the events coordinator.
Why are someone else's clothes in here?
Well, it's, part of the sleepover package.
Nia, welcome to the corkboard. I'm sure you'll have a lengthy and pleasant stay here that won't be short-lived.
You're going to get your money, and I'm going to get my girl. Zack, you are a genius.
Oh, hi guys. I'm back from Scotland.
I hate you.
When London arrives home early, though, Zack and Cody abandon their previous go-to strategy of locking her in a closet from season 1 and instead spin up various lies, such as, your suite's infested with rat roaches, and they've changed all the floor numbers.
This is your floor.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. While you were gone, they changed all the floor numbers. Take your floor and subtract 10.
The writers of this episode forgot that London lives 2 floors above Zack and Cody explicitly. It's been well established many times. Checkmate, liberals. I didn't blink. Fuck. Cody tells Stacy at one point that he has a surprise for her, but he winds up accidentally re-entering with Ivana. So predictably, Stacy now thinks that this is her dog, and she names him Noodles. Nia and the twins force all the girls to play hide and seek when London arrives.
We'll take that for you.
But eventually they're all found out and we get the 900th, what do you mean blank? This is blank scene.
Ivana, my doggy's name is Noodles.
This is the worst party
London's surprisingly chill, all things said and done. She's just excited to have a slumber party. But Mosby and Carrie bring the law down.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe I blew it with Stacy.
Can't believe you stole a llama and brought it here.
I thought the lesson was only kiss one girl per party. Unless the first one goes home.
This episode also has a running gag where Carrie's pursued by what I can only describe as a polyamorous, down bad barbershop quartet who all want to sleep with her.
Let's get a table for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Guys, I can't date all 4 of you.
Seems that Carrie has expelled the polyamorous side of her personality she explored in high school. They're chasing her everywhere. They're just walking in her apartment uninvited.
Gotta make dinner for my kids. You know, without me they wouldn't eat.
Tomato.
Why don't we eat here?
No! If I'm not back by 10, call the cops!
Then Mosby joins them at the end.
You answer it. You answer it. You answer it. I never thought boys were gross. Me either.
I never thought girls were gross. Ever.
Girls? Boy.
Pretty much every other thing that a 14-year-old boy does involves girls.
Yeah, I'm more like the boys are my friends sort of stage now.
Wink,
She's like, boys! Oh my gosh! Boys are my favorite subject.
Do I have any tricks to impress a girl? None of them work. We'll do stupid things for girls.
I've probably made myself look pretty stupid around guys. I keep my feelings to myself about boys. You're like, hey! No, you what's up? No, I verbalize, and you're like...
I don't understand anything about girls. I don't get them. I could hang out with the girl for a year and I could know nothing about her.
Not a big deal. Boys aren't a big deal to me.
Kids like you express themselves every day on Disney Channel.
Okay, now another episode that I remember really fondly from childhood, the Arwen that came to dinner.
But it's lights out for everybody at 10 o'clock.
10 Yes, I get to stay up an extra 2 hours!
So Arwen's devastated because his mother's getting married and moving out, which means he'll have to live all alone with his pet sock monkey. Let's ignore the fact that many episodes have insisted he lives in the Tipton's basement. He doesn't, he never has. To help him cure his loneliness, the twins invite him over for dinner. But he proceeds to vastly overstay his welcome, mooching off the Martins for like a week.
Hey, are you gonna read a story? Mother always reads me a story.
Wait.
I love the fact that he's in love with Carrie. He thinks he has a chance with Carrie, but he's just chill acting this way in front of her. Like, can you imagine being her?
Where's my rhinoceros pancake? That's not a rhinoceros! That's a hippo!
I didn't have enough batter for
Like, you know things are bad when Zack and Cody are annoyed with Arwen.
It has been absolutely awesome having you here for the past week.
Carrie demands her kids get rid of him, and they go with him to his place to remove his mom's knickknacks and create a bachelor pad. in the hopes that Arwen might pick up a girlfriend along the way. Simply having a girlfriend is the solution to all deep-rooted childhood mental health problems. A lot of people don't know that.
I don't see any girl knocking on my door anytime soon.
Hi, Arwen. Do you have any sugar?
Nope.
They finally succeed in retrofitting the place and convince Arwen to hang out with this lady who's come over.
Why should I give her my sugar?
Because you might get some sugar back.
The twins sense some chemistry and they leave, to let them do some private adult stuff all alone. And evidently it didn't work out because he will still be obsessed with Carrie in all future appearances. In the B story, Lance comes to talk to London and he means business. He just walks in without missing a beat and is like, hey, I'm breaking up with you.
I hope we can still be friends. Maybe not close friends.
Nia, working for tips of course, agrees to extract information for London by interrogating Lance. And he reveals that he left her because he's now dating a hostess/mermaid from the Halibut hangout named Wanda. Remember, Lance is obsessed with water. Like 50% of his lines are talking about water, and I haven't showcased it that much in this edit because it's not funny. So London decides to dress up as a mermaid in the lobby to catch Lance's affection, and then fall over so he can pick her up in his arms. Nia, right on cue, brings in Wanda to witness this, all according to plan.
Who you calling stringy-haired, you scaly-skinned freak?
Mm-hmm. At least my seashells aren't fake.
And now the show has this most overtly weird cat fight. Like, they're really just...
You guys... Hold on.
I love that this was the solution to Disney Channel love triangles. Like, not necessarily a great lesson for the children who were watching, but infinitely more entertaining than, like, I don't know, High School Musical, the series. There are no fist fights, and there's like 30 love triangles. I feel like I got scammed. Another moment of post-part 1 clarity. There was a bit where I was like, can someone explain the joke to me?
I landed on my A.
And everyone's like, oh, well, you see, it's actually rather clever. Him saying landed on his A means he landed on his ass. It's like, I get that. I mean, why did everyone put their fingers in the air? That's what I was wondering. The next episode was called Lip Syncin' in the Rain, and it was the High School Musical 2 tie-in episode. They released it very early, proportional to production order, to correspond with the release of High School Musical 2 3 days later, and as a result, it takes place wildly out of order chronologically. Maddie's back and everyone's deep in their school year. So we're just going to talk about this one later.
Zack and Cody, you're making some money.
What am I paying you?
Minimum wage?
Works for me.
Making some friends. And making some mess. Live it up with the sweet life of Zack and Cody. Every night at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Disney Channel.
Season 3, Episode 10, The First Day of High School. When the season started, Maddie Fitzpatrick was away at summer camp, and Nia was staying at the Tipton for the summer. But now the writers evidently wanted to move the timeline forward and have Zack and Cody enter high school. So what's their solution? We get a quick throwaway line that Nia is now staying there for the school year as well.
When I agreed to let you stay here for the school year, you promised me you wouldn't get into any fights.
And Maddie? She's in Antarctica.
Fill this with candy. Maddie asked me to send it to her. She's spending a semester with her Antarctica.
Maddie is off saving the penguins in Antarctica, and we never learn what that means, or why she decided to go to Antarctica, or how that even came up, especially seeing how she hates the cold, but she is just there. And this is always the explanation I've remembered to justify Maddie's absence. I have no memory of summer camp whatsoever, but I do explicitly remember that she went away to save the penguins in Antarctica. We learned that London has been expelled from My Lady of Perpetual Sorrow.
What could I have done wrong? I hardly ever showed up.
And she'll now be attending Cheevers High School. This also happens to be Zack and Cody's first day of freshman year. They stare at all of the tall women, and Zack decides to fall in love with the young Danielle Panabaker before she got trapped doing The Flash for 9 years.
Hi.
Bye.
He is down bad, and her boyfriend Vance comes to beat him up, throw him in a trash can. Nia stands up for Zack and picks a fight with Vance, leading them to both get scolded by Principal Militich. Carrie and Mosby both find themselves called to the principal's office, a few mere hours into the school day, to answer for their children's sins. Throughout the episode, in his final appearance, Bob has decided to become a jock. This little indecisive kid, meanwhile, has decided to become a nerd.
This whole bad boy cool thing is getting old.
When Vance sees Cody in class and mistakes him for Zack, he threatens him.
I'm going to break your face.
Whoa, easy, Vance. Okay, yeah, he may be a nerd, but I used to hang with him.
That makes you a nerd.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
To defend Bob, Cody leaps onto Vance's back and winds up landing himself in detention as well. London has spent the entire episode paying everyone around her to pretend to be her friends, paying people to attend her classes for her, and renovating the school to expand her locker. When the principal catches her, she is sent to detention as well, where Carrie and Mosby once again show up. So Danielle Panabaker broke up with Vance, and just a mere 2 hours later, says yes to Zack's offer to go on a date. Then we never see her again. In detention, everyone copes with their own failure. Vance asks out Nia because he was turned on by her beating him up. Some real pay pig energy there. And then that's it. This whole episode is just a sequence of things happening. Like there's no plot.
Yay, me!
And then despite building this whole massive school set, we only see just the classroom in one more episode, and that's it. Which seems like a shockingly large investment for this show to make. Love the ambition.
When it comes to eating healthy, here's some global inspiration. Disney Channel's Pass the Plate. Hey everyone, Brenda Song here. Today, we're gonna pass the plate with bananas. Bananas are a great sweet treat, but what I like is they give you an energy boost too.
Of course, if you don't have time to caramelize, pulverize. Hi, I'm Greg from Disney Channel UK. You know, there's nothing that quite spells summer to us Brits, like the tennis tournament at Wimbledon. I'm sure.
Michelle and Robson are right. That does sound yummy, even if I can't pronounce it. But we did get to see some pretty awesome ways to eat bananas. Me, I used to just have with milk in a bowl. But now, I'm inspired. I'm gonna see how many different dishes I can make with bananas. Remember, no matter how big the world might seem, we all come together when we pass the plate.
There is a genuine case to be made that Season 3, Episode 11 of Clocks and Contracts is one of, if not the funniest episode of this entire series. And that is saying a lot given how far in we are. But I will say it is hands down my favorite thing the show ever did with Zack. It opens with Carrie signing a new contract with the Tipton, right out in the lobby for some reason. And that's when Zack romps in with a problem that only he could have.
I got gum in my ear!
As soon as he said this, my subconscious immediately remembered the sound effect which was about to play. Zack suddenly sees a lack of benefits provided in the contract and suggests Carrie hesitate.
Hey, did you get a 3-year guarantee?
I don't see that in here.
How about yearly raises tied to performance?
Good point.
Oh, you're outside the flags! Outside the flags!
She decides to forego signing in order to review it more thoroughly.
I know you don't believe this, but Zack can be pretty sharp.
Check it out.
So back up in the room, Zack goes over the contract with Carrie and points out all the ways she's being taken advantage of.
Why can't you do your math homework this easily?
So this right here feels like a role that Cody would have, and it would have been a very generic, run-of-the-mill episode. But the fact that it's Zack just makes it so much funnier because it is so random and out of character for him.
Of a raise, more vacation time, a suite with 2 bedrooms.
I want that. Finally, I could have my own bedroom.
Well, actually, I was thinking one for me and one for Cody, but...
Zack, after blacking out most of the contract, turns Mosby away, and Carrie decides to hire him as her negotiating agent.
Okay, Zack, you are now my agent.
Great! Let's do lunch! No, really, Mommy, I'm hungry.
Mr. Mosby also just sucks today, because he is technically, you know, the main antagonist of the show, even though it never really comes across that way. So it is kind of refreshing to see this mean, overbearing, penny-pinching boss aspect of his personality come out for the first time in a while.
I'll let you keep the outfits for, you know, dates, should you ever get one.
So Zack comes down to negotiate.
Well, we never would have come in without this glamour puss up there shaking her goodies.
Shaking my goodies?
Get yourself a candy bar, but just one. We don't want your goodies to go bad.
They kick Carrie out of the room to have a private discussion, and Zack emerges with some really good news.
Well, I'm glad you understand our position.
I do.
So, how'd it go? What'd you get me?
Well, more vacation time.
How many weeks a year?
52.
Zack told Mosby that Carrie quits as negotiation leverage. But unfortunately, Mosby simply begins auditioning new acts to swiftly take Carrie's place.
In fact, he started referring to me as the guest in 2330.
Zach's womanizing is going absolutely insane, by the way.
Just don't call it a school night.
Okay, Zach!
Zach mentions he's an agent, and this clown here says, "Hey, I need an agent," and he hires a 14-year-old to represent him on the spot. Oh, and the twins are officially 14 as of this episode.
I don't think I can let a 14-year-old negotiate my deal.
So Mosby begins to fold to Carrie's requests, but then a representative of the Glitz Hotel comes in to offer Carrie a better position.
A 3-bedroom suite and 1 month vacation per year.
Shut up!
Mr. Mosby, your turn.
I'll take it!
Take it, but...
Unfortunately, this man turns out to simply be the clown from earlier, who Zach set up with his massively backfired ploy.
I thought I did good.
Shut up.
Carrie gives up and goes to beg Mosby for a job back, who sincerely tells her that as a friend, she deserves better than her current living accommodations, and he's not willing to hire her back. But when the new stand-up comedian physically assaults an audience member, Carrie regains negotiating power and she's able to reestablish her position. Despite Carrie calling the shots and despite Mosby just saying she deserves better, she will remain sleeping on a couch for the duration of the series in this 1-bedroom suite. The B story is also really good. London offers to pay Cody to do her science project for her. However, Nia also bribes him with concert tickets to help her. Cody gets London started on a potato clock and he gets Nia started on a Tesla coil. But when they start fighting over him, he quits. They work on their projects without Cody, accidentally cross wires, and wind up blowing up a potato into perfectly cut French fries. Then they get an A and turn it into a multi-million-dollar infomercial product that Cody is cut out of entirely.
Seriously, call.
Something is loose in the tip tin.
Dun, dun, dun.
You're a baby.
Watch if you dare. A special Halloween episode of The Sweet Life. All new next Saturday at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
And now for the series' second and final Halloween episode, Arwenstein. Will it live up to the ghost of 613? Well, no, but let's find out. The boys discover a secret hidden room in Arwen's basement that's revealed when they move a photo of Carrie. Club Penguin also had a Halloween party where you could do this, and so I always associate these together in my head. When I think of Halloween, I think of hidden bookcases. Inside, they hear ferocious growling, locked inside a cage in the wall, and they run away screaming. Arwen insists there's nothing back there and they shouldn't worry about it, which is a terrible thing to say to Zack and Cody of all people. They decide to go in, free it, and teach it how to skateboard. Well, that's mostly Zack's idea. We get a reprise of the scary stock music from last time. The boys accidentally leave the gate unattended, and out walks a robot monster resembling Arwen Hawkhauser. And at this point, the episode pretty much abandons all pretext of being scary. I remember being freaked out by this whole cage scene as a kid, but I was able to watch it without leaving the room. And then once Arwenstein comes out, it's just a goofy adventure for the rest of the episode. They sort of play their hand like during Act 1, as opposed to the last time where they saved the ghost reveal for the very, very end and built up suspense throughout the rest of the runtime. So Arwen comes by, pratfalling again for no particular reason, and explains that he assembled Arwenstein from a kit he found in a cereal box. That seems like a class action lawsuit just waiting to happen. For some reason he raised him in a cage. What is this room here? Did Arwen drill out a room somehow, or did he cut through the wall to make a hole and put the bookcase in front of it? Why is this in the hotel? Does Mosby know about this room? I feel like if you're just an employee somewhere, and you create a dungeon in your office, you're gonna get fired. Also, there's been multiple episodes where London insists they need to throw someone in the dungeon.
I want him thrown in the Tipton dungeon. Throw him in the Tipton dungeon.
And Mosby insists every time that there is no dungeon.
We don't have a dungeon. We don't have a dungeon.
Evidently, he was wrong.
Well, then what's that room in the bottom of the hotel?
That's the basement.
The three of them team up to recapture the monster, and Zack and Cody eventually find it out in the lobby, and for some reason, instead of bringing it to Arwen, they decide to bring it to their suite, and that seems very short-sighted on their behalf. Because yes, predictably, Carrie decides to take a photo of Arwen's sweet costume, and that scares him into rampaging away again. Now comes the night of London's Halloween costume contest.
I am corn.
She's dressed as a fairy princess because the outfit came with the country she bought.
Ding, bing, bing, bing.
Arwenstein comes by, predictably wins the contest in Arwen's name, but then everyone realizes he's a horrifying monster, and they basically just become bloodthirsty Simpsons characters out of nowhere, chasing it to destroy it! He runs away with Carrie because apparently he's in love with her too. Everyone tracks him to Arwen's basement, where he and the twins are able to convince the angry mob not to destroy him. Arwen's mother calls and she says she would love to take Arwenstein in. So she said to her son, "No, you cannot live with me and my new husband." But then 6 episodes later, she was like, "Why sure, son. I'll take your robot equivalent." But everyone's happy in the end. Now, we can go back to the far more stressed, nervous Kian, where I'll stare at the camera intensely, deep into your soul, and I won't blink. Hope you enjoy him.
The Tipton welcomes some creepy, crawling guests.
There's a giant spider on your head! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off! Mommy!
Sweet Life. New episode next Saturday at 8/7 Central on Disney Channel.
Episode 13, Team Tipton, is the classic bug episode. Maddie finally returns from saving the penguins in Antarctica. She needs everyone to hug her to help her warm up, as if she hasn't already had a multi-hour flight to thaw. They make it seem as if Antarctica is right outside the doors of the hotel.
Hey, guys, I'm back.
Look how tan she is. She was not in Antarctica.
I love group hugs, especially with other people.
After her.
Conflict is afoot amongst the staff of the Tipton. Patrick wants his locker moved, and he's infuriated that Esteban's pet chicken Dudley keeps pecking at all of his possessions. Meanwhile, Maddie and Nia have a big blowout fight in their first interaction about who gets to work the candy counter and how.
This has always been my shift. Key, please? It's my shift now. Can I have the key? Yes! Give me the key! No, it's my key!
Is there not a schedule? This creates a big group argument, and Mosby decides it's time for everyone to sign up for a teamwork seminar.
Ooh, group bicker! I love group bickers, especially with other people!
But like, both of those problems have obvious solutions. Move Patrick's locker, that's all he's asking, and maybe tell Esteban to stop bringing his chicken to a 5-star hotel every day. And for Maddie and Nia, just make a schedule. Just decide which one of them's working. And their schedule situation never even gets resolved in this episode, for the record. We never find out who's gonna work the counter. Imagine being Maddie and returning from several months in Antarctica and just immediately getting enrolled in the teamwork seminar as soon as you get back to work. A bit before this, Zack mistook a bagpipe for a super squirter and filled it with water, which causes a bagpipe convention to angrily check out of the hotel. To make it up to Mosby, he lures a group of bug scientists into the Tipton away from the St. Mark. Apparently he reschedules their whole bug convention at the last second on the day before, which I'm sure would not be a logistical nightmare for a convention at all.
My colleagues and I are entomologists.
Here at the Tipton, we don't care what kind of religion you are.
All of the bugs, which were stored in a hotel room that Zack and Cody broke into, are knocked over during a freak accident, and apparently they're too fast for Zack and Cody to catch up with them. All these CGI creatures scuttle away, and they're loose in the hotel. Good heavens, what are we gonna do? Oh my god. Now they have to be tracked down one at a time. My child mind filled in the gaps of this story and made me think there was a lot more to it, but it turns out it is but a lowly B-plot. First, they capture this millipede in the lobby, and then in the same scene, the CGI tarantula is on Zack's head. That freaked me out as a kid. That was so scary. Imagine a creature like that on your head. No thank you. And the last thing they have to capture is a big swarm of wood-eating beetles who threaten to consume the whole hotel. Skippy comes along with them on this adventure. What's funny is that according to my childhood memories, it was Esteban who went with them in this bug story. I thought for sure it was him, but he's down in the seminar room. But here's an interesting wrinkle. A few years back, during the early pandemic, Kayla and I rewatched a handful of Zack and Cody episodes. These ones, to be specific, which includes this one, and her son Landon was there to watch them with us. So jump to the present. Kayla and Landon come up to watch Zack and Cody with me for a few hours. And near the end of that fateful evening, Landon's saying, "Oh, can we watch the bug one? Can we watch the bug one?" And Kayla kind of wanted to go at that point, so I was like, "Is there a scene you want to watch?" And he said, I swear to you, he was like, "Can we watch that scene in the hallway with Arwen and the kids?" He was talking about this scene, but he'd mentally replaced Skippy with Arwen. So I genuinely have a theory. I believe that Skippy was such a forgettable character that every child who ever watched the show completely forgot about him and mentally filled the void with a different character. So back in the A story, everyone's bickering relentlessly. They all hate each other in this episode, it seems.
Esteban is more like this. "Oh, Mr. Mosby! Oh, can I have the day off? Because my chicken has chicken pox, and I can't feed him chicken soup because he's a chicken."
Oh, very well. Good luck with that.
Mr. Mosby, can I take something that's working perfectly well and do some convoluted thing to it until it breaks?
Great.
Arwen, I don't think you're supposed to imitate yourself.
I thought I was doing Esteban.
Shout out to London for being at the staff seminar for a staff she is not a part of.
This is a disaster!
The two stories finally come together when all of the Beatles enter the seminar and the staff of the Tipton teams up to lure them into Zack's box.
Wait, I know these bugs. We have swarms like this in my country. The second Thursday of every month.
The day is saved and now everyone can work together seamlessly without any issue. Despite the very obvious problems of overlapping schedules and a chicken in the staff locker room not getting any sort of resolution. For some reason, despite Maddie returning, she continues to be largely absent for the next several episodes and the rest of the season. That's true in both broadcast and production order. Ashley Tisdale just came back for this one in the middle of her hiatus. I remember Maddie coming back from Antarctica. I remember noticing she was gone for a while, but I don't remember her continuing to be gone after coming back from Antarctica. The show just said, "Oh, she's back," and I guess that's all it took for 7-year-old Kia to just be like, "Awesome, she's back," and not notice her continued non-being backness.
A symphony of rumors
Sergey is in love with Barbara and they're gonna move back to Russia and raise llamas.
might ruin Cody's duet.
We're through!
Sweet Life. New episode Saturday at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Disney Channel.
In orchestra, Zack, Cody, and Barbara joined the titular orchestra.
Is this band class? It's called orchestra. Looks more like a dorchestra.
However, the latter's relationship is thrown into jeopardy when the Russian violin prodigy Sergey arrives to the class, outshining Cody in every way and becoming the object of Barbara's affection.
Sergey's putting a move on Barbara. There's gonna be some drama. Pass it on.
Cody, there's no need to be jealous. Barbara is crazy about you.
Really? Seriously? Sergey is in love with Barbara and they're gonna move back to Russia and raise llamas.
What?
I know, llama seems weird. There's more money in alpacas.
Why is he even here? If he's so talented, why is he at this high school? Zack, due to being wholly unskilled, is assigned to just play the triangle, and he only gets to do about 3 notes during the upcoming orchestra performance, which I think is funny as hell.
Zack, shouldn't you be practicing for the concert?
Oh yeah.
Also, hold on, look out the window. Look out the window right here. The banner that's supposedly the sky is like rocking. It's swaying back and forth. That's trippy as hell, right? On the night of the performance, Cody decides to secure his relationship with Barbara live on stage in front of an audience because, of course he does, it is a Disney Channel sitcom.
That I was really stupid and that I want her back. Pass it on.
You think I'm stupid and smell like a yak?
Now, Zack goes off to be iconic.
Hey, see you in a half hour.
Luckily, Cody is able to properly and clearly explain himself to Barbara, salvaging the relationship and ensuring that they will remain romantically linked for all time. Then they kiss, live on stage in front of an audience who claps for them. Zack has the funniest ending to his little runner. He's fallen asleep in this closet, and his alarm wakes him up in time for him to slam cymbals together. In this infamous Tipton hotel, all closets lock from the outside. Also, this orchestra performance is naturally at the lounge of the Tipton Hotel. So now he sneaks through the vent system and hilarity ensues.
Easy?
The B story is just Patrick goes to work at the Krusty Krab, but instead of Patrick, it's London.
Hello? A good restaurant? Ooh, I like El Bulli in Spain. No!
Her daddy has encouraged her to work in the hotel field, and so she gives it an earnest attempt and fails spectacularly.
Ooh, that's heavy. Could you hold this for me? Could you also hold these two? Ooh, and this one too.
This one isn't even mine. Oh, not that switch!
Why does that vacuum have that switch?
I'll get someone to clean this up. There you go.
Oh, she is a disaster!
Things culminate when, upon taking Mosby's job, she fires the entire staff. I just realized this episode is how I found out as a kid you can shoot staples out of staplers. In the end, Mosby tells her that everyone has different strengths and different talents, and just because she's not good at working at the hotel doesn't mean she should feel bad about herself. The end. This is one of the funniest things they've had London do in a while. It's amazing that it took 3 seasons for them to come up with this storyline. Also, new Mr. Tipton lore drop, we get a list of his sins.
You do what Tiptons do best.
Cut down rainforests to put up resorts?
No.
Ooh, finance takeovers in foreign countries to secure mining rights?
No.
It's always the best episodes that I have the vaguest memory of. Like that, this shit was so good, and so is the next one. Season 3, Episode 15, A Tale of Two Houses. Zack's romantic pursuits are constantly foiled by Carrie's omnipresence.
Mom in the room!
But when Kurt comes to visit, he reveals that he's landed a steady job at a theater production. And he's bought an apartment that's a couple blocks down the street, where the kids are welcome to come and visit.
Well, that is if it's okay with your mom.
Yes! Yes, a million times! Yes, thank goodness! I mean, sure.
Upon visiting, taking note of the spare key left in the houseplant, and learning that his father will be out of the house for shows on weekend nights, Zack starts to come up with a devious plot. And so Zack invites Abby, this one's Abby, over to the condo, which he's claiming is his own.
I miss you. Yes! Alone at last!
Carrie just does not love her kids anymore at this point in the show.
I gotta get me a boyfriend.
But here's the twist, and here's where the episode becomes absolutely iconic.
Hey, Barbara, meet me at the condo.
That's so fucking brilliant, because by only highlighting Zack's mischievous facial expressions, it sets up one set of expectations for how this episode's gonna go, and then it just rapidly becomes something else entirely. So Zack arrives, sets up for his date, and goes to the bathroom. Cody arrives, sets up for his date, and goes to the kitchen. And then there's this prolonged sequence of them not noticing each other that goes on for 4.5 minutes. And it's engaging as hell because you know it's building to something, but you don't know when that tension's gonna break or what the fuck is gonna happen.
I'm making your favorite tea, oolong.
Oolong wins reward!
Zack drops CDs down here, leans down to get them, doesn't hear Barbara come in from over here who sits on the couch. It's just so goofy. None of them are hearing each other in this tiny ass 2-bedroom apartment. But the payoff is literally one of the greatest things I've seen in my entire life.
Want some company, baby?
Sure.
Oh, Abby.
What are you doing?
Well, I don't know, but if you want to come back after Abby leaves, I'll be here.
Did Zack actually just say that to his brother's girlfriend?
If you want to come back after Abby leaves, I'll be here.
And the craziest part is that this episode and the show just never acknowledge this. They just carry on and don't mention the fact that Zack kissed and then tried to steal Cody's girlfriend, Barbara. And Barbara's appearing in rapid succession to the point that I feel she's warranted a spot up here. So now there's a big goofy misunderstanding.
His apartment. This is Cody's apartment.
And ultimately everyone just decides to hang out together. And then the short, indecisive kid from a few episodes ago also comes with his model girlfriend, who we had mentioned earlier in this episode.
I don't remember having you.
And it cuts to all of them playing Spin the Bottle. Indecisive kid has had the bottle spin towards him the last 11 turns. None of the others have gotten to kiss each other yet. And then Dad walks in because he has an intermission and he forgot his fur pelt. And he is mad. He actually puts the law down on them hard.
Sneaking girls in here without permission is totally inappropriate.
Well, now that you're here, can we have your permission?
Oh, sure. Come on, knock yourselves out. Are you kidding?
Good for this man. Good for him. And then Carrie walks in. Everyone's in this apartment tonight, and at first there's drama. She's like, I knew I couldn't have trusted you, Kurt. But then Zack and Cody, not wanting their parents to fight, confess exactly what happened. And Carrie's proud of Kurt for being a good dad.
Well, did you mention how inappropriate
Yes.
and how they'd be grounded? And that you were gonna call the girls mothers?
Only if they're single.
So Carrie drives everyone home, and the twins are grounded. Surely they've learned their lesson and they'll never do anything irresponsible ever again. The B-plot centers on Esteban, and this is actually his very final appearance, so it's kind of a fitting send-off for him. Hector from his home country comes to visit and reveals that Esteban's family is back on the throne. And Esteban is rich beyond his wildest dreams.
You mean my grandfather, Geraldo, Juan Carlos, Diego, Pepe, Bobby Verón, Lupe, Alberto, Esteban, Julio, Ricardo, Montoya, de Rosa, Ramirez has taken the throne again?
No, the other one.
Oh, you mean Fred?
So now it's his grandfather who was ripped from the throne, as opposed to his grandmama, as he referenced back in Not So Sweet 16 from season 2. London decides to teach Esteban her rich lifestyle, and she encourages him to spend lavishly at every opportunity. They become besties.
See it, like it, buy it.
Esteban decides to quit working at the Tipton and live there instead.
Esteban, that would be very expensive.
$2,000 a day to be exact. Mosby mentions that he has 26 years until retirement.
Only 26 more years to retirement.
Season 2's Free Tippy established that the mandatory retirement age of the Tipton is 65, which means that Marianne Mosby is a spry, chipper 39 years old. Unfortunately for London, Esteban decides to buy her suite, and he kicks her out. He's more rich than her, and she's not happy anymore.
Would you like to go for a ride in my limo? It has a volleyball court.
Soon, though, predictably, his luck runs out.
The bank was here. They took your limousine.
What? Can't they go play volleyball somewhere else?
Yeah, there was another revolution in Esteban's country, and his family was kicked off the throne now. He realizes he should have just listened to Mr. Mosby, who advised him to save his money, and now he's poor again and has to continue working at the Tipton Hotel. London has no empathy for his situation.
Rule number 1. Mock the poor.
In the end, we learned that Hector's family was put on the throne instead, and now he and London are besties. The end.
Back in our country, when they kicked your family out, they kicked my family in. I am so happy. I am sorry, but I do not hug poor people.
Goodbye, Esteban. I'll think about you every night until my heart and my lungs give out, until I breathe my last breath. I will never forget the name. Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de la Rosa Ramirez.
In the arms of the angel, fly away.
Room service. The Sweet Life is back on Disney Channel.
Tipped Online is an episode that I remember really fondly, or at least the A-plot. Zack has become obsessed with a new virtual reality game called Virtual Dragon Quest, a clear riff on RuneScape. Carrie demands that Zack log off, but he insists he can't because his in-game partner, Django Darkblade, needs his help.
Maybe you can use your magic wand to get Mr. Mosby to give me a raise.
Girl, you just asked him to do that like 5 episodes ago. It did not turn out well. But Carrie puts her foot down and yanks Zack away from the game, leading to this iconic mid-episode reveal.
I am sure Django's mommy wants him in bed too.
Walter? Walter? Where did you go?
There is no reason at all why Mr. Mosby would be playing this game. At this point, he is just whatever any given story needs him to be for it to function. And they did actually foreshadow this earlier in the episode by showing him hooked on his computer when Carrie comes to talk to him. Experiencing virtual Dragon Quest withdrawals, Zack decides to sneak onto Mosby's computer to play, which shows that he does not fear or respect this man's authority at all. And then he finds Django Darkblade's sword.
What are you doing with this?
That is a letter opener for very large letters.
I've never forgotten that line. So Mosby and Zack unite in real life as Moltak Firewand and Django Darkblade. They both agree to battle their addiction, and then they give up a few seconds later and run back to the computer. Interestingly, Mosby also predicts one of the next online video game sensations.
I haven't done any work in a fortnight. Plus, I just said Fortnite.
The episode then ends with Mosby and Zack in a support group, which is so much funnier as an adult. Because first off, why is there a children-only support group with no adults present? But secondly, why is Mr. Mosby in it?
I noticed when we came in, the security guard had a laptop.
Oh, I call dibs!
Last one there's a black door!
There's a moment where Dylan Sprouse flubs a line and he says is instead of isn't.
Oh, dude, it's just a game. Well, how do you know it's not real and all of this is just a game?
No one caught this and admitted to the final cut. Luckily, I'm here to point that out. Don't worry, guys, I got you. Cody's half of the adventure sees him producing London's new web show, Yay Me, starring London Tipton. At this point of the show, I think they just run out of ideas for things for London to do, so they're like, sure, web show. So she's pretty much just running a web show and the rest of her appearances in season 3 now.
London Tipton's really great, really great, really great. London Tipton's really great. She deserves the opposite of hate, which is love. Everyone, sing along.
Get used to that song.
Really great, really great. London Tipton's really great and deserves the opposite of hate.
London and Chelsea decide to humiliate poor Cody on air, over and over.
Imagine I set you up on a blind date with Cody.
Ew, he's poor.
I love that that's her biggest concern and not the fact that he's a child. Cody's had enough and he decides to quit, which causes the entire audience of the web show to leave as well. And then they go watch Sleeping Granny's Twitch streams because they were only there for the little blonde kid apparently. So after losing her audience, London apologizes to Cody on air, and he accepts the apology and returns as the show's producer. And, new Mr. Tipton lore, he does not pay his taxes.
Daddy says there are two things that Tipton never does. Apologize and pay taxes.
We could have guessed that, honestly. I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room, that being, this is a very transparent attempt to compete with iCarly. It has the same energy as when Bob the Builder got popular in the early 2000s, and so Thomas the Train introduced a bunch of construction vehicles. Like, we see what you're doing. Kids don't. We were kids at the time, but now we have grown up, and now we can see what you were doing at the time. iCarly came out on September 8th, 2007. This episode debuted 2 months later, on December 15th, 2007. According to this chart on the Zack and Cody wiki, filming for this season of Zack and Cody would have wrapped in August 2007, a month before iCarly aired. I can't find any source for this, but like, either way you slice it. They knew iCarly was coming, they knew Nickelodeon was making a show about a girl on a web show, and they were trying to get a slice of that pie. And it is nowhere near as iconic. Going into this rewatch, I didn't even remember London ever having a web show. It wasn't until I heard that London Bridge is really great song that it slowly tickled the back of my backal lobe, which is the opposite of a frontal lobe, I believe. You will never be her, Zack and Cody.
What role are you hoping to get? Sharpay. You know, a lot of people tell me I look just like the girl who plays her. I don't see it.
High School Musical is coming to Sweet Life.
Prepare to be dazzled.
With singing,
The big front door.
dancing,
Praise the Lord.
and the role of a lifetime.
And everyone says I look exactly like Sharpay.
I don't see it.
Mark and Delicato guest stars. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody's High School Musical episode.
You know, you even kind of look like Zac Efron.
Hello, Sharpay.
New episode Sunday at 8/7 Central on Disney Channel.
And now is as good a time as any to circle back to Lip Syncing in the Rain, the High School Musical episode. We open with this exciting information.
Guess what? I just found out what our school play is going to be. High School Musical!
You might be wondering why Maddie is attending the same school as Zack and Cody in London. Yeah. This is the closest we get to an explanation.
I never got a lead role when I went to Our Lady of Perpetual Sorrow. Every single Christmas, I was the wise man who brought myrrh.
Apparently, despite London making her life a living hell every day at that school, Maddie, I'm assuming, decided to transfer enjoying her anyway. I don't know. Zack and Cody are 14 and freshmen. Season 1 established that Maddie was 3.5 years older than Zack and Cody, with London being 6 months older than her. So logically, that would put Maddie and London in their senior year, 17.5 and 18 at least. But keep that in mind, as London will spend at least 3 more years as a high school student. So in her only true showcase story this season, Maddie's auditioning for the role of Sharpay.
You even kind of look like Zac Efron.
And I don't look like Ashley Tisdale?
I like the idea that Ashley Tisdale and Maddie Fitzpatrick coexist in this universe, as well as Zac Efron and Trevor from early season 2. And come to think of it, why is High School Musical always a fictional entity within the world of every other Disney property? There's no Disney Channel cinematic universe that coexists with High School Musical. In Zack and Cody, High School Musical's a fictional thing. In High School Musical, the series, High School Musical's a fictional thing. Even in the newest Disney Channel original movie called The Slumber Party, which is a beat-for-beat remake of The Hangover, High School Musical is a fictional thing that the characters watch. That's gonna be my next video. It's very stupid. But to actually get to the plot finally, Maddie's passed over for the role of Sharpay because London's daddy is financing the director's Broadway show. The high school theater director's Broadway show. Maddie's told that she's just too nice, which she objects to.
Sometimes, when I give sandwiches to the poor, I don't cut up the crust.
London, being terrible at singing, as it's been well established, is wrecking the entire production.
Really great, really great.
She decides to get singing lessons from Carrie and dancing lessons from Mosby, in what I personally consider to be the spiritual successor to the Prindle scene, where it's just rapid fire gags one after another, and they all hit. Starting when London tries to find a way to remember do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Ray, me.
Yay, me! La. La is something you get to break if you're rich.
T. My favorite vowel.
What was that terrible noise?
I was singing.
Not that noise.
Tail and crazy legs!
So it's now the night of the show.
Okay, people, it's opening night. We have to practice all of our numbers.
Absolutely not. Even more chaotically, after learning that Mr. Tipton will be in the audience, the director decides to have London lip sync over Maddie, who will be singing backstage. No opportunities to pre-practice this, they've just gotta do it cold in front of an audience for the first time. And naturally, it just goes really smoothly without a hitch. And this sort of already happened in the band episode from season 1, but it's different enough. It's fine. Now they're singing Bop to the Top, the one singular High School Musical song that's in this episode instead of any of the good ones. And when I said it goes smoothly without a hitch, I meant until Zack stirs up chaos. He wants Maddie to get all the attention she rightfully deserves for her singing, so he drops the curtain. Maddie's forced to improv and come out dancing on the stage, and Zack and Cody come too, and the audience eats the shit up, and they think this was how it was supposed to go. So I do have an interesting relationship with this episode, because this is the one that I went back to watch in middle school. I had a friend, and her dad was the teacher, and her little brother, / the teacher's youngest son, was obsessed with watching Gamer's Guide to pretty much everything on the hit channel Disney XD. So my friend was like, it's so annoying, it sucks, and me and her were like, they just don't make good sitcoms like they did when we were kids. And her dad, the teacher, is like, absolutely not. Like, this is the exact same. And I was like, you cannot tell me that Zack and Cody is as bad as Gamer's Guide to pretty much everything. He was like, go back and rewatch it. Tell me it's good. And so I actually did. And I went home and I chose to rewatch this one because I remembered it really fondly. And I found it really underwhelming and unfunny. And so I just went back to school the next day and I was like heartbroken. I was like, guys, Zack and Cody was never good. And no one was willing to believe me. So now years later, I wouldn't say this is one of the best episodes of Zack and Cody. It's pretty fine. I can see how I was underwhelmed by it. I also think this is not a middle schooler's sense of humor. It's like, you're exploring new things, you're discovering that Rick and Morty exists, and that bad words can be a thing. But now I'm at the point in life where I circle back around to unironically really enjoying this. So I think I just chose the wrong point in my life to rewatch it, but this episode did like single-handedly lead me to believe that Zack and Cody was actually really mid and bad for like 7 or 8 years.
Arwen? Buddy?
Huh?
What happened to you? That's not Arwen, you goof.
No, boys, I'd like you to meet Gonzo. He's filling in for Arwen for a couple of days.
Oh, hi, guys. How's it going?
How you doing? So, Gonzo, did you fix the air conditioner already?
Well, I was on my way there, but I got lost.
Well, why? Where'd you end up?
Vermont.
Foiled Again is another episode that I remember large swaths of. Zack and Cody are doing a science project on bacteria, and that's when special guest star Tony Hawk casually skateboards into the Tipton Hotel.
Whoa! You know who you are?
Tony Hawk? He checks in, and then Zack takes his mucus. When Zack discovers black mold in the Tipton's kitchen, Cody becomes a closeted germaphobe and decides to spend the rest of his life in this protective suit. Zack, meanwhile, tries to warn Mosby about the mold as the Tipton prepares to celebrate the birthday of a 104-year-old client who will consume an extravagant meal from said kitchen. Naturally, Mosby set up the birthday celebration in the hotel's lobby right in front of the doors, as opposed to a designated lounge or party space. A rumor starts going around the hotel in real time. This time the messages remain fully intact, unlike the orchestra episode. Luckily, Cody arrives and figures out that what Zack thought was black mold was simply perfectly healthy bacteria from cheese. In the end, Tony Hawk randomly enters again.
Hey guys, I'm going skating, wanna come?
Duh!
He invites these two 14-year-olds he saw for 30 seconds to come skateboarding with him without consulting their parents. And as Cody prepares to go, Carrie tells him that he can't go to do all of the mini germs at the skate park. Cody realizes that germs are everywhere, and there's no sense in living his life in fear. So he takes off the suit and goes to grind some rails with special guest star Tony Hawk.
Where are you going?
I'm going skateboarding with Tony Hawk. I want to feel the wind whistle through my scalp.
This is also the third and final appearance of Chef Paulo.
Olive oil, virgin olive oil, extra virgin olive oil with the questionable past.
In the B story, Maddie and London take fencing lessons from the charming Diego, who Kayla would like you all to know is played by Jane the Virgin's Justin Baldoni. Both girls find him attractive and form a pact that neither of them get to date him.
You don't date him, I don't date him. He doesn't date you, he doesn't date me. Both Leonard and Maddie don't date Diego. Diego doesn't date Leonard and Maddie. Neither one of us dates Diego!
Then they both date him anyways.
Isn't that Diego's handkerchief? What makes you think that? The big D. Liar. Diego had that last night at dinner. Okay, maybe he did. Wait! How do you know that? How can you date my boyfriend? Diego's in love with me. He told me the sun rises just to see me. Oh, well, he told me I outshine the moon and the stars.
They decide to fence each other for his love. And by that I mean their stunt doubles do.
Maddie, London, Cody.
They catch Diego down in the lobby and he confesses that he has a girlfriend anyways. And the revelation that he is two-timing, which they apparently didn't think about before, is what prompts them to both join forces and fight him, shoving him onto the elevator while he will never be seen again.
Thanks. Call me shellfish, but I love to eat shrimp. Now, I had no idea they were such a worldwide favorite. You can see how much everyone likes them. Well, at least I've got some great new recipes to try in the next batch. While I go get more, remember, no matter how big the world might seem, we all come together when we pass the plate. Hungry for more? With your parents' permission, go to disneychannels.com/passtheplate.
Romancing the phone. Zack and Cody run into a kid named Travis on the elevator who happens to be an expert on pretty much everything. Most relevantly, karate and cooking. They both decide to use his skills as a means of impressing their dates. Cody wants to learn karate so he can become better at it than Barbara, which he thinks will impress her. Then everything goes very, very, very poorly.
Because I'm the guy and you're the girl. And the guys are supposed to be tougher.
What a sexist attitude. I thought you were more evolved than that.
I am, it's just... I don't want people to think that I'm the weaker sex.
I was about to be like, Cody, what the hell? But then Barbara does it for me.
Oh, so now I have to be weak to be with you?
No, not weak. Just weaker.
Oh, well, if that's the way you feel, then forget it.
No.
You tell him, Barbara. Get his ass. Zack's girlfriend today is actually Pair of Kings girl. Rather than actually learning the skills like Cody, He's just gonna cheat and have Travis cook a meal for him that he'll take credit for and say, look, Pair of Kings girl, I made you a nice meal. He hides Travis behind this partition thing. You could buy those in Club Penguin for your igloo, remember that? And the girl's eventually like, yeah, you didn't cook that, did you? He was like, no. She was like, it's cool, we're still in love. Then we never see her again. Cody has Travis teach him a Japanese apology ceremony of some kind.
I want to perform a Japanese tea ceremony for them.
And he's instructed to follow his every move.
Is that the first gesture in the ceremony?
No, my shorts are just riding up.
He is wearing pants. He sneaks Travis out of the kitchen and apologizes to Barbara right in front of her grandma in the lobby of the Tipton Hotel where they both happen to be. I have to give the show credit here because of the two characters it's claiming are Japanese, one of them actually is. And you know what? Granny's actor lived in Japan for a while, so despite her being Korean, I'll give the show 1.5 points. That's a massive step up from all previous Asian representation. Things are going really well until Travis has to swat a dangerous bee that's swarming around him, and Cody follows his every move.
You don't want people to hear that the Tipton's infested with bees.
Everything goes to shit.
No, he's really freaking me out.
This happened Phineas and Ferb, by the way. But Barbara ultimately takes Cody back.
How could I be mad when you went to so much effort to impress my Obasan?
I really did it for you, Barbara.
Oh, Cody.
Oh, Barbara.
Awesome. Oh, and Travis, I've forsaken to mention up until this point, is played by Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son.
Can we talk about like the political and economic state of the world right now?
I remember the whole internet was really mean to him like 10 years ago for being a bad actor, and in the internet's defense, he was.
Get ready for the story of a talented celebrity dad and his less talented bratty kid.
I am dedicated, have studied.
Oh my god, he's the main character in this movie, isn't he? We're gonna have to put up with this, aren't we? Okay, hold on.
There's like a non-0% chance that Will Smith was on set when they filmed this episode, right? Like at least to drop his son off. Is not impossible. In the end, Travis asks the twins to go bowling with him on his very final night in town before he moves away again. And they both push him off to, you know, hang out with their dates.
See ya.
Carrie is very, very disappointed in her nasty children for using and discarding this poor innocent child. And they ultimately both decide to cancel their dates to hang out with Travis one last time. Unfortunately, it's too late. He's already wooed their dates, and they're all gonna go bowling together, leaving the twins all alone, the way God intended. Travis leaves to travel the world on a cruise ship, a fate that will soon befall Zack and Cody in the follow-up series, The Sweet Life on Deck. Travis also mentions the International Dateline, which if I remember correctly served as the backdrop of a pretty memorable On Deck episode. Meanwhile, Maddie discovers a Tipton guest's lost phone. Going through it, she sees that it belongs to a humanitarian philanthropist named David, whom she falls completely in love with the idea of. David is gonna come back for the phone soon, and Maddie keeps fantasizing about who this man could possibly be.
Madeline?
The Tipton staff try to tell her to not get her hopes too high, and predictably, when David arrives, something's wacky and he's an elderly man. But she agrees to his offer to get hot chocolate together.
I can't believe how much we have in common.
I know. You like 300-year-old music? I'm 300 years old.
I like Van Gogh.
I knew Van Gogh. I hope you don't mind my asking, but are you single?
Oh, David, I am so flattered, but my mom doesn't let me go out with anyone older than me.
Neither does my mom. I was asking for my grandson. He's exactly like me, except his hips are original.
David sets Maddie up with his grandson, Jeffrey, who looks exactly like the man she imagined in her fantasies.
He just broke up with his girlfriend.
Oh, what a shame. My name is Maddie.
Honestly, I think that's really sweet. Maddie doesn't have any more love interests throughout the rest of Zack and Cody, so I like to imagine that she just ends up with Travis and lives happily ever after forever. Okay, never mind. The Sweet Life on Deck fucked that up. Of course it did. Sweet Life on Deck moment.
I think I found the problem here. With all these pipes and wires in the way, there's no room for the air to get conditioned.
Gonzo? How many air conditioners have you fixed before?
Oh, counting this one? Let's see, let's see, count the, carry the...
None.
In Bench Warmers, Zack goes out for high school basketball and struggles with the fact that he's no longer the star player. His massive, intimidating coach continuously benches him the way Cody used to be. They're clearly using the same gym set they used before, and I find that very distracting because I pay attention to that. The coach is named Coach Little, and the show makes very predictable jokes about that, but when I was in high school, I had a physics teacher named Mr. Little, and I made all of the same jokes. On like a near daily basis, he'd get so mad, and I'd be like, ooh, Mr. Little has a short fuse. There's nothing you could do to stop me. Good for him. He retired now. Meanwhile, London and Cody go out for the cheer team. But the snotty cheer captain is being a Disney Channel cheer captain, which is to say, super mean.
Yeah, she'd be perfect. A loser on the loser squad.
It is from Victorious. Look at it. Cody's like, wow, these cheerleaders are hot. And I'm thinking like, bro, you're dating Barbara, what the hell? And then Barbara walks in like 2 minutes later and the show just doesn't acknowledge it.
Barbara, you don't want to go out there flouncing around wearing some short, tight little skirt. Go and get him, honey, and don't take no for an answer.
Also, Pop and Lock and Jam and Break Girl from High School Musical is back. She's back. She's here. Also, the British twin girls in their final appearance.
Go team, really go.
And the girl who puts a bag over her head from the summer school episode. So London decides that since they can't get on the official cheer team, they should form their own cheer team.
You know, when Daddy can't buy a company, he starts a rival company which puts the first company out of business.
So you're gonna liquidate the cheerleaders?
Mr. Mosby reveals he used to be a cheer captain in high school, and he takes it upon himself to coach London and company in the art of cheerleading.
Captain!
Bro is literally the most loud and disruptive person who has ever stepped foot in his lobby. Like, I don't even care what the show is trying to pretend here. It's him. He's the problem. Nia joins the football team because she says that Victorious Girl stole her boyfriend Vance. So there is continuity because she was dating Vance last we saw him.
Oh, you like Spirit? You're about to become one. No, not the nose. It was a birthday present.
At the game, Zack gets a chance to play, but he's smacked to the ground and disoriented. But when both teams cheer to encourage him, he's finally able to shoot a game-winning free throw. And Coach Little explains that everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and he was saving Zack for this moment. This is Nia's final appearance. We don't get any formal exit for her. We never get any resolution to the storyline of Mr. Mosby straightening her out for the summer which long passed. Maddie just returns and Nia's fully obsolete. So, okay, bye Nia. Have a good day.
Nia moment. Me when I'm Nia. And I guess I'll just take Barbara off for fun.
Enjoying your stay at the Tipton? We'll be back with more Sweet Life on Disney Channel.
Season 3, Episode 20, Doin' Time in Suite 2330, is the second banned episode of Zack and Cody. This one wasn't pulled from the network due to any content within it, but rather due to the real-world actions and controversy of one of the guest stars, Chris Brown, whose domestic abuse of Rihanna in January 2008 led to this episode getting pulled about 8 months after it aired. Unlike the Season 1 Dyslexia episode, I do remember watching this one. I wasn't sure at first, but little visuals like Zack painting his toes or Carrie with a bag of pretzels is what made it fully click in my mind. Like, yes, I have seen this. And another thing, as we'll talk about within the episode. We opened with Carrie the most furious she has ever been in this entire series. After Zack and Cody just crashed a wedding in the most horrible, disruptive manner possible. Something they don't seem to show much remorse for.
And they had the 3 kinds of mustard. The jalapeno Dijon was fabulous. Really? I thought it was too spicy. Why are you afraid of flavor? I'm not afraid of flavors. Guys!
That is by far the best comedic timing that Dylan and Cole had in this entire series, and they banned it? London comes by because she needs new guests for her web show. Unfortunately, Cody's not allowed to go help her when Carrie refuses to sell her children to London.
No, I'm not selling my son.
Oh, fine, I'll rent him!
So London hires Maddie to produce the show for tonight, and takes it upon herself to ask hotel guest Chris Rock to come on the show, which he obviously agrees to because he's a huge fan of Yay Me starring London Tipton. Zack and Cody sneak out as well to get a guest, and they stumble upon the Cheetah Girls, who have checked into the hotel. I thought Raven Simone was a Cheetah Girl, and I looked it up and yeah, she was, but I guess she left, which just leaves these lesser Cheetah Girls. They don't deserve to say that name. They're not real. They're recruited to join, but then Cody realizes that they've double booked the show. There's no time for them to do damage control because they have to rush back to their room before they're caught. The twins sneak out to save the web show with their most devious plan yet, which is playing a looping audio of them playing Go Fish.
Zach, do you have any 9s? Nope, go fish. You have any 2s? Nope, go fish. Do you have any jokers? All right, take them out and let's start over. Zach, do you have any 9s? Nope, go fish. You have any 2s?
Meanwhile, they sneak out through the vent system.
Hey, Cody! Why don't we invent something to do in our room? What? Oh, don't worry, Mom. We'll invent something to do.
Oh, right, invent in our room. I love to invent.
Because they weren't on Disney Plus, the 2 band episodes were the very final ones I watched for this retrospective. Throughout the whole show, every time the twins entered the vent, in the back of my mind I was like, oh, doesn't the vent collapse? They fall, right? And after I watched the series finale, I just resigned myself, like, okay, I must have been thinking of a different show. But here, it finally happens.
We've been crawling around these vents for years without any problems. And these things are only meant to carry air.
And we're bigger than we used to be.
It's amazing that these things can still hold us up. Uh-oh.
I cheered. I knew the vent collapsed at some point. That was so satisfying. And this is also just a wonderful closure / send-off to the running gag of them climbing through the vents throughout the whole series. They look back on how far they've grown, and then the vent collapses. It's like the climax of the vent storyline. Unless it comes back and On Deck, I'm not sure yet. I wouldn't be surprised. Carrie eventually realizes she's been duped and Mosby pulls up the web show. For some reason, Mosby keeps referring to his niece.
I must say, thank you so much for signing those autographs for my niece. I have to get his autograph. For my niece.
And it's like, does he mean Nia? His only niece?
Well, you are my only niece.
Is the show just not trusting its audience to remember who Nia is? Or has she just ceased to be a character forever now that Maddie's back? They burst in, and Carrie goes on a tirade towards her children to an audience of millions of people in front of Chris Rock and the Cheetah Girls.
You deliberately disobeyed me.
And broke my vent.
I don't care! I am so sick of this constant cycle of breaking the rules, getting grounded, sneaking out, getting grounded, breaking the rules.
Well, maybe you could break the cycle this time by not grounding us.
Oh, dude. Oh, that is it. You are beyond grounded. The next time you see sunlight... Oh, actually, no! You're never gonna see sunlight again. Because by the time your punishment is over, the sun will have burnt out, collapsed into a black hole, and the last remnants of mankind will be living on a rusty little spaceship as the cold silence of space slowly drives them mad!
So back in their suite, it turns out that Carrie became a viral sensation due to yelling at her kids and got the Yay Me web show a luxurious award. The episode ends with London interviewing a fucking Bigfoot, something she'd been talking about doing throughout the entire episode. I don't know why I have no memory of this. So thus far, Zack and Cody, the hotel show, has been really grounded, and the only wacky, out of the ordinary occurrences are a ghost, teleportation to another dimension, and Bigfoot. These are the only strange things that have happened in this show. So keep that in mind as we head into On Deck next time.
The Martins are taking a vacation.
This is so cool!
Will they have fun in the sun? Or want to abandon ship?
At least you got your seaweed wrap.
All aboard for an all-new Sweet Life. Saturday at 8:30, 7:30.
Season 3, Episode 21. Let Us Entertain You. This is an interesting one that kind of confused me as a kid. It takes place on the SS Tipton, the primary location from the Sweet Life on Deck. I suppose you could call it a backdoor pilot, though that seems like using the term sort of loosely. It doesn't set up the plot of On Deck. It doesn't introduce any of its characters. It just takes place within that show's locations, but it's an episode of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. When Carrie's exhausted, Zack and Cody decide to surprise her by booking a week-long vacation on a luxury cruise liner called the SS Tipton. What they fail to mention is that the vacation's only free if Carrie performs for largely the entire weekend, something she's not enthused by when she finds out.
We're sorry, Mom, but this was the only way that we could afford this vacation.
If I have to sing, then it's not a vacation. So you're saying the only free time I actually have is right now. You two are the most.
I feel feel like season 1 Carrie would have been a little more appreciative that they tried. So Carrie does her best to explain this situation to the heartless, soulless cruise director, Mrs. Klotz, but she refuses to help them at all. When Carrie refuses to sing, the family is relegated to the storage room surrounded by dog kennels. I find this whole situation so distractingly not possible. And I know you could say that about, like, you know, most of the show, but this one drives me insane. Like, the fact that this woman let these two children make these accommodations on behalf of their mother without the mother even being aware that she was the main star of the cruise seems like a failure on her part. That's a dramatic failure in communication by, I would say, multiple departments. So there are a lot of CGI establishing shots of the Tipton's interior in this episode that I do not remember carrying over to On Deck. So let's see if my memory is correct next time. After a silly goofy failure of a breakfast,
I'm losing it!
Carrie reluctantly agrees to sing. Then they steal some innocent woman's food and waddle away. They scurry. So this is an episode that Kayla and Landon were watching with me. Kayla at first had no memory of this one, but then like a few minutes in, she was like, wait a minute, doesn't the mom get sunburned with a donut on her? And I was like, I don't know.
What'd you do, Mom?
I fell asleep in the sun.
What's that white circle?
I was eating a donut.
Subconscious childhood memories for the win. There's a lot of that in this video. Because with Wizards, it wasn't subconscious. I just remembered it. So Carrie's severely sunburned and now she can't perform. With an ultimatum of sing or swim back home, the kids decide to put on a performance on their mother's behalf.
If you're feeling weary, baby, sail away with me. Let your cares just drift away upon the seven seas.
Kayla pointed out that it's a good thing they remembered to pack their tuxedos and tap shoes on this luxury cruise vacation. Nitpicking just runs in the family, it's genetic.
We're gonna have a great cruise!
Miss Klotz tries to stop the show in front of an audience, live on stage, per usual.
No, do not hit it, boys. You hit it, I hit you. Give me that microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry about this amateur display. I'm gonna drop you on an island so small you're gonna have to take turns standing on it.
But she gets booed away, and the twins give an encore performance. I genuinely truly believe that the character of Miss Klotz was created as a failsafe in case Phil Lewis didn't sign on to do Sweet Life on Deck. We don't ever see her again across the whole franchise. But I'm willing to wager a guess that had Mr. Mosby not been in the Sweet Life on Deck, she would have taken his place as the primary antagonist.
You're a heartless woman. It didn't bother me when my 4 ex-husbands said it. Doesn't bother me when you say it. You've been divorced 4 times? Oh, no. Widowed.
The B story sees Maddie convince Landon to use their web show for good, with a 24-hour charity live stream. But when a blizzard prevents all the guests and performers from arriving, the staff of the Tipton has to fill in for them. They continually make no money at all, whatsoever. Before ultimately realizing that the blizzard cut off the broadcast 23 hours ago. Mosby and Maddie decide to start giving the Tiptons unused food to homeless shelters and take action into their own hands.
Yay us! We're gonna help the Hungarians!
Hungry! So yeah, back to my memory of this episode. I remembered this one existing and it was like a chicken and egg situation for me. Did they decide to set this episode on a boat to test the waters for Sweet Life on Deck? Or did they set Sweet Life on Deck on a boat because they already had this big set from this episode? I don't think there's ever been a formal answer given anywhere, but you can definitely make some intuitive guesses. This was the very final episode filmed in production order. The Wikia mentions that Cole Sprouse has put on a weight in this episode, which might imply they filmed this a lot later than the other ones, but he looks about the same to me between 321 and 322. I don't see any difference, honestly. According to this chart, which again, I can't find any source for, filming for the season ended in August of 2007. 6 months later, during a press conference on February 4th, 2008, Disney Channel president Gary Marsh announced The Sweet Life on Deck. He also mentions that there had been 88 episodes of Zack and Cody. No, there's 87. I think he must be counting the That's So Raven crossover. Because unless there's some lost episode that is not documented anywhere that I can't find, there's only 87, which is a lot. So many. Anyways, this episode then released 6 months after that press conference on August 16th, 2008, about a year after they would have wrapped filming it. So by the time this episode aired, everyone knew about Sweet Life on Deck. Everyone internally at Disney. But what about when they filmed it? 6 months is probably a lot of time for contract negotiations and everything. But I kind of doubt the third season would have built this massive multi-room cruise ship set if they had no plans of using it ever again. I mean, there's 3D models and 3D renders created just for this episode. Maybe season 1 or 2 might have, but season 3 pretty clearly had a very constricted location budget compared to those other seasons. But maybe that's because they were conserving the budget to build this boat. The same way season 4 had like no locations throughout the whole season, then all of a sudden, giant space colony, huge, expansive 3D renders in the second to last episode for no reason. At the end of the day, I think there's one line in this episode that sort of shows their hand.
I think I'd like to live here.
They wouldn't have had Zack say this if they didn't kind of know where the franchise was heading, right? I think they must have known about Sweet Life on Deck when they filmed this episode. Maybe they didn't know the specifics of who was going to sign on yet, besides Dylan and Cole, but I think they knew they were going to do it.
Well, thanks for breaking my fall.
And finally, the final episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Season 3, episode 22. Mr. Tipton Comes to Visit. This one is actually a clip show, as the characters reminisce on their past adventures and hijinks, while they pine to earn a raise from Mr. Tipton on his imminent visit. The vast majority of this episode is clips from previous episodes, sort of a best of highlight reel, even though none of it was good. There's a couple continuity errors that crop up. Zack and Cody say that Arwen's letter sorter was brilliant, but they weren't even there. They never saw it. They were working at the store with that weird guy. Remember him? Secondly, Mosby states that the show's pilot was Zack and Cody's very first day at the hotel. And that's just straight up wrong. Multiple days pass within this pilot, and the clip that they show, which is supposedly Zack and Cody's first day, is day 2 of the episode. So the show is just tripping here.
Okay, we'll stay out of your way. But it would be nice if you showed a little faith in us every once in a while.
Here we go!
Everyone basically talks to each other one at a time about why they're gonna get the raise, as we watch footage of their past exploits.
The letters stand for park, reverse, neutral, drive, and loud.
Mr. Tipton arrives early, and after angrily throwing his cake at Arwen, they realize he's in a bad mood, which means someone is going to get fired. It's not clear if Arwen sticking his head out the window just happened to be caught in the crossfire of a falling cake, but I like to imagine that Mr. Tipton, up on the roof, saw someone stick his head out the window and just immediately chucked a cake down at him within seconds. Also, where the hell did his helicopter land? The roof is a spike. Now everyone fears for their jobs.
Oh no! Daddy's gonna fire me! London, you don't work here. He's already done it?
German chocolate cake is his favorite.
Mosby's right. All 12 of Daddy's wedding cakes have been that flavor.
After 87 episodes, the vase that Mr. Mosby frequently saved from destruction shatters.
Back off! I hate being crowded.
Right, everyone, move back. He doesn't want to be crowded.
This is the end. What a journey it's been. Zack and Cody ultimately have a plan though. They call Muriel, the lazy housekeeper from season 1, and have her visit. When Mr. Tipton arrives, still buried by his guards, he sees her lazy attitude and he fires her. However...
Don't you remember, Chowderhead? I retired 2 years ago.
Then what are you doing here?
That was the plan we were trying to tell you guys about. While Mom was cleaning cake off of Arwen, we called Muriel. We figured if somebody should get fired, it shouldn't be someone who worked here.
This is really cool because they retroactively explain where the hell she went after she disappeared after the first season. But they gotta tie everything back to the beginning with her inclusion. And Muriel actually gets the final line of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, do you have change for 100?
No.
And just to bring things full circle, Maddie probably doesn't deserve to be up here again. Muriel most certainly does not deserve to be down here again with one singular appearance, but I like things that go back to their beginnings as they end, and I'm going to do that with my special corkboard.
Overall, this is a good finale. It didn't have to be big or grand or emotionally satisfying, because all of these existed in an episodic void, and there was a follow-up series right around the corner. Instead, they just took a stride down memory lane, relived their best moments, and let Zack and Cody save the day. I wish Esteban was here. It seems like a weird exclusion, but given that there's only like at most 8 minutes of actual new footage in this, he only would have had like 5 lines, so it's fine.
Thank you everyone for watching. This was a corkboard.
Okay, so where would I put The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on this show tier list? Well, it's obviously better than Lab Rats and Elite Force. I'm not sure if this would be controversial or not, but I don't think it's as good as Wizards. I think that show's just a lot more charming. I've overhyped Mighty Med in my head to be the greatest show of all time, but I cannot in good conscience put Sweet Life in the same tier or below Mighty Med. So it's going to nestle right here in the A tier. I think that seems about right.
And that's all for today. The series ended on a high note, more popular than it had ever been before. It's gonna be a bit of a wait before the next entry in this retrospective. It won't be like Quentin reviews long, but it'll still be like, I don't know, December. But I think it'll all be worth it because The Sweet Life on Deck, if I remember correctly, is something very, very special. So join me at the year's end in the fall of Zack and Cody. See you there.